we are rolling. Last name Sagar, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so Sagar, like I'm telling you how to growl.
Sagar?
Sagar.
Sagar. Nice.
There's so many people that are like, is it Sagar? Is it Shagar? Is it Shagar? Is it Sager? It's like, no, Sagar.
Sagar.
It's like, just pretend I'm teaching you how to make a growl sound. Like, what? You say "gur"? Like, oh, okay.
I'm leaving this in. This is gold. This is gold. Shane Sagar, how you doing?
Good, man. How are
Good,
you?
I'm good, thanks. So, my friend, we kind of know each other, but not really well.
No, we've kind of through people and stuff like that, but not like...
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of one-on-one hangouts.
Nope, not a lot. I think that mic's probably going to be okay there because your voice is boomy, so...
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I can always adjust it. I think we're probably good.
Cool.
So, we're here to learn a little bit about you and then talk whatever the heck we want to talk about.
Cool, man.
How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
So, you a Victoria boy?
I was actually born in Toronto.
Oh.
We moved out west when I was 4. So my dad retired early, moved out west. We moved to Powell River.
Oh, Powell, nice.
Dad bought a house on a 7-acre plot of land and decided, all right, I'm going to build a house. And he had to like log this land, and he like did most of the stuff as himself and hired contractors to help him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he lived on this giant house on 7 acres of land.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like house right in the middle of a forest.
Cool.
And, so we moved in there. I lived in, that was about 4.5 years old. Moved there, lived there until I graduated high school. Moved to Victoria in 2000, and basically been here ever since.
Yeah.
Did a little short stint in Prince George, a short stint in Nanaimo for work, but otherwise just being in town the whole time.
Cool. I'm gonna get you to pull up just bring your chair a bit closer or something, or slide this way a bit or something. Yeah, I'm just worried it's gonna be a little bit tinny if you're too far away. I gotta get some better mic stands. Something you can bring
get
in.
the boom mics.
Yeah. More gear.
There we go. Yeah, right.
Powell's a cute little community. I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
I vacation on Savory.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Savory's so good. We've gone there, gone a couple like grad parties and stuff like that. That was like a common thing.
Like on South Beach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just go out there and just like couple cabins and just people like sleeping literally in sleeping bags on the beach.
Yeah. The place we stay at is on South Beach.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's cool on a long weekend. It's fun. We're not usually there during the long weekends, but yeah, it's fun. You see all the kids and playing football and frisbee, and it's a good beach. Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Just sandy, beautiful. It's great.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so we go through Powell quite a bit, and it's a cute little town for sure. I like it there a lot, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see myself retiring somewhere like that. It's a peaceful little community.
It's good to be a kid, and it's good to be retired there.
Right.
But most people like they graduate high school, they leave town, and because there's really nothing for people that are like 20 to 40, kind of that range, unless you are an absolute like fanatic about like hiking, fishing, bull buying, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But a lot of people leave town, and then they come back after they've had a couple kids, and then they bring their kids up there, and kind of the whole cycle repeats.
Right.
Yeah. Because there was the pulp and paper mill there, and that's shutting down.
Well, it's still running, but barely.
Yeah. Like I think it like 10% of what it actually used to be.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, there's so much different part of it shut down. Like I don't think they're even making pulp. So it's
I can't remember the last time we were there if there was steam coming out or not.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's been a while since I've been back home either, so I don't know.
Yeah, how long were you there in Powell? Did you say?
How long did I live there?
Yeah.
About 16 years?
Oh shit! So you were there a while.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Oh wait, no, so not 16 years. I don't know, whatever like 12 years.
12. Okay.
Yeah, I moved out when I was 16. I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't
You moved
born
out when you were 16, eh?
Yeah, I actually graduated early. Mm-hmm. And my birthday's
Were you
in
gifted,
June.
or did you start early, or what happened?
It's thanks to the teacher strike.
Oh.
And my dad being a hard ass.
Oh yeah.
So there was like a teacher. There's one of the, I can't remember what year it was in. I was in grade. I would have been in grade 3.
Yeah.
So there was a big teacher strike that lasted like a month long or something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to school. I'm like, all right. My dad's like, nah, dude. Like, and he went to school and grabbed my books.
Yeah.
And was like, you're doing the coursework. It's like, oh, come on. Like, no, like, you're not going to sit here at home and do nothing.
Yeah.
You're going to do schoolwork. So he basically just like homeschooled me on the stuff, and I finished the grade in the time off. So we were because we were just going at my pace as opposed to the pace the teacher had, and so it was just like boom, 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 hammering through the courses, and I had basically done all the coursework. And then when the teacher strike is over, I go back and it's like, I'm done all this already. So the next year, my dad like advocated, like, no, he's done the coursework. He did the coursework for the grade like they let me start the coursework for the grade after. So when I went back, I'm like, I've done all this, and they're like, okay, fine, you can do some grade 4 work. Right. And I had that all done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then when I go in, they're like, okay, you're going into grade 4. My dad's like, well, fuck, like fuck, he isn't. Like, he did all that. Like, he's going to the next grade. So
yeah.
And so that's basically how I skipped a grade. And then so I graduated early. Plus my birthday's in June. So I took my learner's license exam for my driver's license was like during finals.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was like right in there, and like I graduated. Oh, sorry, no, other way around. Learning for my N was during my finals.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was 16 and I turned 17 like right after. But yeah, so I was in first year university at UVic as like a 17-year-old, and everyone's like, "Oh man, I can't wait for my birthday. We can go to the bars." I'm like,
"Yeah, not me so much."
Cool.
Yeah.
But also I just went to the bar. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have ID." Like, "You're pretty tall. All right."
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You
got tall young?
Yeah, I finished growing. I was about 6'9" at 15.
Bullshit.
15, 16.
Oh wow. So you were fully height-wise. You were there.
Yeah, I hadn't filled out.
Yeah.
I was like I grew up and I was like kind of a chubby kid. Then I hit a growth spurt. Yeah. I was like 200 pounds.
Goodbye, chub.
Yeah. I was like 200 pounds at like 5'8", and then I like shot up to 6'4", and I was still 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I got up to like 6'9". I was like 210.
Oh yeah.
And then like by the time I graduated, I was 6'10", and sometime between then and like third year university, I grew another inch.
Oh.
I totally thought that I'd stopped growing. And I was like, all right, I'm done. That's it. That's fine. Whatever, 6'10". And my coach at UVic kept on putting on the roster that I was 6'11". I'm like, no, dude. Like, I'm 6'10". Don't lie. They're like, oh, all the coaches do it. Like, that is like, see, he's 6'6" on the roster, but he's actually 6'4", and we make it so that we look more intimidating to the other teams. It's like, but it's fucking lying. Like, I don't want to go on the court. They're like, this guy's not actually. And then I'm like, oh man, I feel all like shit. Like, that guy's a liar. He's a fraud.
Yeah, exactly. Like, fuck that guy. He's only 6'10".
Yeah, fuck that guy. He says he's 6'11". It's phony.
Yeah, exactly. Piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, what a loser. I bet you he's lying about everything else too. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be that guy. So I was like super self-conscious about it. So I guess maybe like subconsciously my brain's like, oh, well, we'll fix that. There we go another inch. Then I remember showing up next year for the training camp, and he's like, all right, so we're putting you on 6'11". I'm like, yes, we are. And I just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, 6'11".
Give me that inch.
There we go.
Nice. What a hoot.
Yeah.
So I guess because you skipped that grade, so that gave you the ability to get out of the house sooner.
Yeah.
And you went to UVic.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so you moved down to Victoria.
Yeah, moved down to Victoria. I was doing basketball camps, like going to like the Vikes camps, like in the summer camp and things like that for basketball. And coach is like, so where are you going after high school? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to get good for high school. And they're like, start thinking about after high school.
Yeah.
Come down to UVic. I'm like, all right. So it just kind of.
Did you get a scholarship?
No, like the Canadians a little weird about that.
It is, isn't it?
It's like it's basically an academic scholarship for that. So if you're on the basketball team and you like make like certain grades and all these kind of things, so it's a lot more. It's not like in the States where you're like, oh yeah, full ride
on sports. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like you get the sports scholarship and then you just maintain grades. This is like you get the sports scholarship conditional on you achieve certain grades.
Oh, I see.
So it's. Yeah, and it's also like you get like I think it was eligible for. I think that at that time they said like $3,000.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like
not a lot.
Yeah, it's like whatever. And like this isn't really, whatever. I'll just make sure that I. What was I gonna say? I just make sure that I'm basically just taking the right courses and not having too hard of a workload, so that I can still play basketball. So I can still go to school.
Yeah.
Because didn't really want to, like, because I would have had to have like a full 5-course load. And me, the brilliant kid that I was, and I mean that as a fucking idiot, I mean by brilliant, I decided I was going to play varsity basketball and take computer science as my major under the engineering faculty, which is like a 6-course load with like 3 labs or something like that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
good luck. No time.
Yeah, they're like, all right, so most of you are going to need to take only 3 courses and probably want to be like on an arts degree in order to be able to have enough time to play basketball. And I'm like, so being in like engineering faculty on one of the heaviest course loads, is that good?
Yeah,
no,
it's not good.
No, it's not good. So I fucked myself over pretty hard on that one.
Did you? So were you able to just adjust those out and figure that out? Or?
It got a little dicey.
Yeah.
Because it was just too hard to maintain both. So I dropped a bunch of courses.
Yeah.
And then I ended up changing majors and didn't stick with computer science because that was the biggest thing. And this is like fucking mad because I remember going with like office hours with one of my profs, and she's like, "Oh yeah, the greatest thing about computer science is that literally you can just take yourself, lock yourself in an office, and just start coding." Just typing away at computers and like just do your thing.
Oh,
like,
that's fucking awesome!
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
sounds so great.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, like cool, like with dim lights and like pale skin and like never see people,
chips and pop and like, caffeine and
She's like, it's great. You just go work for like 2 days straight or something, and then you just like do whatever you want. I'm like, it sounds awful.
Yeah,
I don't want any part of this at all.
Yeah,
and so I was like, comp sci's not for me. Like this is awful. So and then like I ended up switching around, changing majors, and like looking back on it, it's like, fuck, why didn't I just stick with it? Because if you look at like what the classic like tech startup is, it's like, yeah, they're kind of computer nerdy guys, but then there's like the couple of them that have people skills, and then they've got like beer taps and like the break room, and they're like got places like Google, which have got like nap pods and all things like that. This was before any of those things were like really prominent. Like shit, like I could have actually jumped on like ground floor of some of those things if I'd stuck with that, but
who knew?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
It was impossible to know.
I mean,
there was a point where like computer repairman was a thing when I was leaving school, right? Well, that job doesn't exist. Nobody repairs computers. You just toss it away and buy a new one.
Yeah.
So no one would know that coding was a thing. Coding's a thing now still, I guess. But aren't they farming all that stuff out now to places like India and China where labor's cheap?
Yeah, but it's all about like, I don't know enough about it, but it seems like it's like one of those, like if you know the architecture, so it's like you're going to build a really nice house. It's like, okay, cool, you're going to build a house. Like, well, I'm going to hire a bunch of carpenters to just like put up the 2x4s and do all that kind of stuff. But then like the actual architect could make like a really cool design and can figure out how to adjust the stuff there. Like he knows how to do it, but he's not doing the grunt work. That's the same thing like on that kind of stuff. It's like someone could design the architecture and we're going to make it do this and we're going to find a way that I can do whatever. But
yeah, exactly.
But
so what'd you get your degree in? Do you want to drink?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't actually have a degree.
Oh, you didn't get it?
No, I've got a few years.
Rye, Sambuca, tequila, Scotch. Decisions. Do, 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 do. This is good.
All right, you get your hand. You went for it first.
I went for it first because it's actually really good.
Yeah, you went for it first, so it's got to be good. So I joke that I was like doing like this Van Wilder.
Nice.
So like a few credits away from a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I've got like a good chunk of computer science, but if I was to go back, it wouldn't be worth anything anymore because.
There you go, man.
Cheers.
Yeah. It's just too much has changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah. That's good.
So much has changed that like the stuff that I did in school, they're like, dude, like sure you know that, but like so comp size changed. I did a year and a little bit of psychology because that's where all the girls were.
Nice.
I went from comp sci that I had like a 300-person lecture hall and there were 3 girls in it at the beginning of the semester, and there was one by the end. Like the other 2 had dropped it. I'm like, nah, I don't want this.
Yeah.
I mean, like 17-year-old guy playing basketball. I'm like, where's all the chicks, dude? Like, so it's like, well, screw this. So I switched over to psych, And
there was 3 guys in that lecture hall.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I was like, oh, this is way better. And then afterwards, and they're like, oh, but it's all just like memorizing shit. And then like, and it's like, you're also going to need a PhD to actually do this for work. Like, no one does anything with a bachelor's of psych. I'm like, all right. So I switched to business.
Was it a Bachelor of Arts or Sciences when you went?
Business?
No, for psych. It would be like a Bachelor of Science or Arts with a degree in psychology, would it not?
Oh, I think it was, yeah, I think you could have done both.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually declared or anything like that. So it was essentially just taking a whole bunch of
psych courses,
like electives kind of thing.
Right.
I think I was still technically under the engineering faculty at that point.
Right.
And so they're just like, okay, take a bunch of classes. I'm like, this is pretty good, but maybe not. They're going to have to go really far with this. Yeah. Not going to do that. And then I took a couple of years off, and I was working at the nightclubs, and the coach of the Camosun basketball team rolled into and they're like him and one of the assistant coaches, and they were like, "Oh, hey, Miguel, you're tall. You should play basketball." I was like, "I do play basketball." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, I played for UVic for a couple of years, and then I like stopped going." They're like, "He's just like," like immediately sobered up. He's like, "Wait a minute, do you have any years of eligibility left?" I'm like, yeah, I got at least 2 or 3, I think, because like the first year was technically a red shirt, and the second year was like, here's my card.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's get you in there. I'm like, all right, maybe I could take a couple courses, and then that's when I went to the commerce.
Oh, nice.
And I was going to do the accelerated BCom, and then just ended up like working instead. Like, got promoted into management anyway. So, and they're like. And they're kind of thinking like, well, this is kind of what my degree would lead me towards.
Yeah.
And there already, I don't need to finish this. So,
yeah.
So yeah, a little bit away from a bunch of things.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. So when you left UVic and Camosun, where'd you go to work?
So I did a lot of things. That was my like finding myself.
Sure.
Yeah,
fuck whatever.
I worked on an oyster farm.
Where's that?
That was in Powell River at I can't remember what it's called now. The name of the cove. It's right by, if you know where the Laughing Oyster restaurant is. There's like you go off and out into that whatever that cove is. I can't remember the name.
Don't know it, but anyway. Okay.
Anyway, so oyster farm, did that for like a summer, and that's disgusting work. Like if you watch that show like Dirty Jobs, it's kind of like that.
Is it? Why?
Because so you get the whole concept of oysters, like oyster farming, is you get oyster seed, which are like oysters like this big, and
where do you get those seeds? Does someone breed them for you?
Yeah, there's like people that I think they breed them in like tanks or whatever.
Yeah,
and so you just buy them. They come in like onion sacks of these little like quarter-sized ones.
Okay.
So I don't know where we bought them from. It's just like
they just get that.
Yeah,
somehow.
There's a bunch of sacks in there. They showed up of oyster seed. I'm like, all right. So then we take them, we dump them into these trays, and you get like 20 trays that are stacked on like a metal thing.
Okay.
And you take a crane and you hang them off of the side of a barge. So these things are like 7 feet tall stacks of plastic trays.
Oh, so you put the seeds in the tray.
Yeah. So you just take a bunch of little tiny oysters, dump them in like a plastic tray that's like this big. And then you stack all the trays together, and then you just put them in the water.
Oh, okay. That's it.
And then after a bit of time, you pull them out, take them out of the water because they've grown.
How long does it take for them to grow?
I think it was like every 2 weeks or something like that, or maybe.
Oh, so they don't grow to full size, but they've grown some.
because what you do is you take them, you spread them all out.
Yes.
You just cover the base of it, and then they grow.
Yeah.
And then they're too big.
Yeah.
So what you do is you take them, and you just took all of the things, you dump them on like a big piece of plywood on a table, and he's wearing these big thick gloves, and you just rub them, because oysters grow this like frill around the edge of them, and normally like the tide and stuff like that breaks it all off and causes them to do that, but because they're in these trays, there's no tide, there's nothing, they're just sitting in still water,
right?
So you take them and you rub them like to break off that, and then you just and then you again spread them out in the tray, but so they're not like overlapping.
More trays there.
There's more trays. So one stack would be 2 stacks now, and you just keep on doing it. But
do they shit in there and sit? So they're sitting in their own shit.
So they're sitting in oyster shit, and you take it, and like you're wearing like the Helly Hansen like rubber coveralls and like rain slickers, and you're just rubbing oyster shit and
oyster shells and oysters.
Yeah, it just stunk so bad.
Ugh.
And you finish, you like take off all your clothes, and like I was living at home at the time, and like come home, my mom would like straight to the shower, like don't even set foot in the house, like so like you just like take off your work clothes at the front door, go to the shower, throw them in the wash. It was just, it smelled so bad.
Right. So are there not that I give a shit, but are there environmental consequences to having that many oysters in that small of an area?
There are, from what I understand.
I mean, it's better than the shit we get from China.
Yeah. So I mean,
I think they feed them sewage, don't they? The ones in China.
I
think I've heard weird shit like that, but anyway.
Yeah,
I digress.
I didn't pay too much attention to it at that point because I was like 17 years old.
Yeah, you were just doing it for a summer.
I was just like, here we go, just doing the job. Like, okay, throw oysters on a table and rub the shit off of them. All right, that's my job.
Yeah.
It's like, where do they go after that? I'm like, I don't know. People eat these. Like, where do they come from? I don't know. There's a boat that drops off oyster seeds, whatever the fuck oyster seeds are. And I was like, there we go. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, at the end of the workday on Friday, my boss tells his boss that we're still working late till 5. We leave the raft at noon. We go to the pub, have some drinks, and we can't come home till 4 because he knows that if he sees his truck in the driveway that he left work early. So we got to go stay for drinks. So that's what I know about this job.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the actual like the bay or the cove, the body of water is like, there's like oyster shit all over the bottom.
Yeah.
But like fish come and eat that stuff, and it's not too bad. I imagine like the ecosystem is definitely out of whack.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean,
there's just too many.
Yeah, there's too much of something.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being like people being like, that's really bad because
right.
Like say like a salmon, like a fish farm or something like that. You get people that are like super upset about those kind of things.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was like similar ideas, but I guess they're probably the oysters you're raising are probably a native species for one, so there's that.
Yeah, because oysters grow
here.
Yeah, and we have them like where we take them and like the ones that are, you have to actually harvest them before they're a certain size.
Oh, okay.
Because like if you go down to like say like Ferris's and you're like or one of the like Buckashuck oysters, those oysters
they're
are
smaller,
about like that big.
Yeah,
and then you've got like you can get oysters that are like that big that you're gonna like grill.
Yes.
And like eat like with a knife and fork.
Yeah. Those are like the ones I get when I go up there.
Yeah.
We get the big ones. Like, you go to Desolation Sound or something, you're getting those big oysters.
Exactly.
You're not down in one of those.
No.
Raw. You're just not, right? Ugh, nasty.
Eating it like
you
a duck.
You can't. You have to cut. I've done them raw. I've just cut them in half. Otherwise, it's just massive.
Oh, they're giant.
Things.
Yeah. But so, but the ones that grow too big, like we'll do them in the end, and like there's like they would have just like a little like thing. It's like if it's longer than this, it's too big now. So some of them will grow super fast, and then like you take them out at like the last tray, and they're like, oh, this one's giant. They just chuck them over the side, and then they attach to the rocks and grow naturally, and they just kind of have their own habitat that way. So yeah.
I saw a meme today. This is rotten, but and it was 4 oysters like in a row. And all you could see was the oyster itself. And they look exactly like vaginas. Yeah. Right? I don't get it. Like, the world is connected somehow.
Oh, dude. Like,
right? Like, I know it's kind of like fucking, someone's going to say, oh, you're a fucking pig. But an oyster looks like a vagina.
And they're supposed to be an aphrodisiac.
Maybe they're supposed to be because they look like a female sex organ.
So is it like something that you're like, okay, you eat it and there's a chemical that makes you think like, ooh, vagina?
Yeah.
Or is it something that you're like,
ooh, that looks like a vagina?
This reminds me of something. I can't put my finger on it, but...
yes you can. And in it too.
Maybe I'll have a couple, then maybe I will put my finger on it, whatever it is. Jesus.
Yeah, so I think so it was like 4 oysters. They looked like vaginas, and it was some reference to the Spice Girl reunion or something like that. I was like, come on. But you look at them without knowing. You're like 4 vaginas on Facebook, but no, it was 4 oysters.
Dude, I saw. Okay, I don't know if you see like you watch those videos where they're like cooking stuff and like fast forward. And they're like, oh, take the stuff, and they like stir it in the pot, and then they see like just like they're like cooking videos, but like,
okay, just like quick.
Yeah, just like the quick. They're like the tasty and like things like that.
Okay, I haven't, but
okay. Well, there's this one where they're making like chicken cordon bleu.
Okay.
So and they got like all the chicken breast lined up.
I think I might have seen this one though.
And then they're like put a cut in each one.
Yeah.
But they're like not showing that, like they like using like stop motion, so it just like sees they like rub it down and it like splits open. Or like
yeah, you saw the one where the guy kind of puts his hand over it,
and then he puts the ham in the middle, and then like ham's like hanging a little bit over the edge. And he's like poking it down with his finger, and then he like stuffs a little bit of cheese and like a little bit of nugget right at the top, and then he like bakes it.
That
and
looks good enough to fucking
And then
eat.
they pour cream sauce all over the whole thing. Like, this guy knows exactly what the fuck he's doing. This is not like a weird. What do you mean it looks like that? Like he knows exactly what he did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not an accident.
Yeah, no, it's totally on purpose.
Yes. Maybe that's why food is so, I don't know, arousing. Anytime a woman cooks me a meal, I mean, it's arousing. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said to a bunch of buddies of mine, I said, you know what? You know how you how you make your wife horny, right? Do the fucking dishes. cook her a meal. How about that, boys? If you're bitching about your old lady not having sex with you, try a couple of those things. How about you do the vacuuming?
It's like this, if you see the meme with like Vince McMahon being like, like each step is just like he's like took out the trash, did the dishes, vacuumed, like just like super,
exactly. Without being asked.
Yeah, right? Like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you know you're getting lucky when.
Yeah, it's like, oh damn.
I know. I don't know why so many of us don't get it though. That's all it takes. Some acts of service.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Acts of service. That's what we're built for. Men are built to do that shit. You got to do that, and then things all seem to fall into line.
Yeah. You, it's if you build it, they will come.
Amen. You couldn't have used a better word, brother.
Oh shit.
So yeah. Oh wow, this has gone to fucking hell in a handbasket. This is a good time.
How long did it take to go off the rails?
27 minutes.
A record time.
This
record
is the
time.
This lasted. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. So oysters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just a summer.
Yeah. So oysters look like vaginas. One summer.
Yeah, and then So then I started. What did I do? Then that's around the time where I started working in nightclubs.
Oh, okay.
So the summer was in Powell River.
Did you work in nightclub? Is there nightclubs in Powell River?
No. So that was the oyster farm. Like it was between first and second year university. So I worked. That was my summertime job.
Oh, right.
Came back and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, just turned 19 then at that point in second year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll get a job as a bouncer.
Sure.
So ended up doing that, and that was like my evenings and weekends job from like 19 to 31.
Oh shit, you were there a while.
Oh yeah,
like in the business,
bunch of different bars.
Yeah,
worked at a ton of different places, and so did all sorts of different nightclubs there, and that was always the kind of like my secondary job. So I worked at a bunch of different bars, just like 2 nights a week, sometimes as much as 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And then after second year university, I started working for a car shop. So it was like a custom car shop and auto glass.
Okay.
And my buddy was working there as like a mechanic basically, and he's like, hey, we've got this like machine that cuts out like the vinyl stickers to put the whole Fast and Furious kit on the side of a car.
Yeah.
All those like splash marks and stuff and racing stripes. He's like, the guy that
like a big plotting unit with a cutting head.
Yeah, it's exactly. It was a vinyl plotter.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't know how to use a machine, and you're really good with computers. Can you figure it out? So I came in there and all right, and I'll just like
plug it away,
and it's just like, okay, give me like 1 day unpaid, and if I get it to work, pay me for whenever I'm there. Like, okay, cool.
Sure.
And then they're like, wow, it's great having you around. Like you can add like to all these different jobs. And so while you're not doing the graphic stuff, you want to detail cars and help the windshield stuff. Like, okay, so
sure, yeah.
Did that for like a year and then left there and did a bunch of other different things. Then, after that I did painting. I did a few other things. And then I got a job in sales working for Future Shop. Mm-hmm. and that was like right after I'd gone back to school for the commerce, and basically got into management there, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
and just kind of kept down that road.
The detail auto shop, that was in Victoria as well.
Yeah,
and so vinyl stickers, replacing windshields, detail polishing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, did all that.
It's a good skill to have.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it was literally just finding myself like a way that I can like it. It was about the classic, like, finding a skill that you can do that someone else can't, because no one know how to use the machine. I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. I'm like, I got it. And then their head detailer quit, and they're like, okay, well, like, none of us wants to polish a black car. That's super hard. Like, oh my god. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I remembered I watched him do it. I remember all the steps. I'm like, here, I'll try it. And like, did this like black Mustang, and there's no swirls in it. It looks perfect.
Beautiful.
I was like, all right. So they're like, all right, you're detailing. I'm like, all right,
I guess so. Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm doing. And then just like, okay, here's something that someone else doesn't know how to do. I better learn how to do it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that was that. It was almost there, probably a year and a half, almost 2 years, I think.
Yeah. What year did you start in the bar business?
Oh, like 05, 06, probably something like that.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Maybe 04, I don't remember. A while ago.
Yeah.
Like, I could do the math and count back.
Yeah. You've been out of it a while now then.
Yeah, I stopped doing it. Well, when I was so after Future Shop, I went to Home Depot.
And, right, you were at Home Depot.
Yeah, almost just about 6 years.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, and the problem with Home Depot is that it opens at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Whereas Future Shop opened at 10.
Right.
So I could work it the night before and come in a little bit
of sleep. Yeah, with a little bit of sleep.
I'm like, okay, finish work at 2, go straight home, sleep until like 8:30.
Yeah.
Show up at 9:30. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Whereas at
Home Depot's no chance.
Depot, store opens at 7. That means I got to be there at 6 and get off work at 2.
Yeah.
I get maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep. It just couldn't do it. So scaled it back heavily, and then just like,
can't.
It's not even worth it.
Yeah.
Because then I started having actually my weekends off. And I was like, all right, this is good. They're like, hey, do you want to come stand out in the rain and tell 19-year-olds to wait in line? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't really need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got a girlfriend. I'm good. Like, I'm not here to try and like, I don't want to be going to like, flirt with girls in a club. I don't want to be I'm not here to be getting drunk. I'm not here to be doing it. Like, so literally I'm just standing at the front of the line, and people are like, let me in. And like, well, literally you have nothing to barter me with. Like, you're just some person outside. Like, I don't care. Like, you're not another business owner. We're not going to network right now. We're not talking anything like that. And so like there's really nothing for me to gain from like a social standpoint. Like, it's not a networking thing. There's nothing for me to do. Like, it's just like, this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, but
it's done now.
It's kind of done, yeah.
So is there a lot of that goes on at a club, like between the doorman and the patrons wanting to go in? Like,
well, I mean, like when I worked like back in the industry, like it would be like you see someone, you're like, hey, you're the doorman at another nightclub. You're the bartender at this other place. You're the server at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was all just like networking service people. And so like Matt and I, we between the two of us felt like we knew like every person at every like.
You probably did.
Yeah, like it was just like, we're like, hey, where do we want to go tonight? Let's go to this place. And like, you guys go to the restaurant like every night. I'm like, yeah, but then they like comped half our meal, and they did all this stuff, and so it was all just about just shaking hands and networking. But then once like you're not doing that every night, then it's I don't need to be meeting all these like other bartenders or doormen stuff like that. I'm not going to your nightclub 3 or 4 times a week on my off days. So why do I need, like, I don't need to be networking this. I would a lot better if like, hey, do you own such and such a business? I'll get you a contractor account and you can spend money at my business. And then I'll like, oh, but you don't run into people like that at a dance club. Like, so
fair enough.
Yeah. So
fair enough. So did you help destroy Future Shop and futureshop.ca?
No, I pulled chute and jumped out right at the most opportune moment.
Oh, nice.
Like it was, like I I'd gone from Victoria to Nanaimo to Prince George, back to Nanaimo, and then came back to Victoria. And basically, I was in Victoria, and I went back to sales. Like, yeah, that's fine. I just want to be back in Victoria so bad. So I was in sales and kind of looking at. They're like, okay, this is all right. I'm actually making decent money. It's commission, but then it's a little bit repetitive though. And my buddy who was ex-Future Shop, who worked at Home Depot, was like, come here, I'll get you an interview. I'm like, I don't know. And then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, sure, let's check it out. And they had a management job for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Let's do this. And probably about 2 or 3 months after I left Future Shop, they're like, oh, dude, did you hear they laid off like half the staff?
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit, really? And then like another 8 months after, they did another round of layoffs. And then like a few months after that, they just shuttered all the Future Shops and turned them all into Best Buys. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, dude, I was like, wow, I skated right under there.
Yeah.
So
was that Best Buy coming into the marketplace that hurt Future Shop?
No, Best Buy owned Future Shop since the early 2000s.
Oh, so what hurt them? What happened? Any ideas? I never really heard why.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things. I mean, like if you look at it, like what they were doing worked well, but I think it kind of just evolved past that.
Like it ran its course. Their model. Yeah.
Yeah, because Best Buy expanded into Canada. The whole thing is Best Buy went to expand into Canada, and they said, okay, all right, we got to figure it out. There's this company, Future Shop, which is like the number one most recognized electronics brand, retailer in Canada. Like these guys are big. Like in Canada, the people are very loyal to them. They know the brand. That's what they do. Like everyone knows them. And so they're like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, how are we going to take them out? What are we going to do? What are we going to build our stores? What are we going to do? And they decided, you know what? Fuck it, we'll buy them.
Right.
Instead of going head to head, they just bought the company.
Yeah.
And ran it under their name. Like, well, they continue to run it just as Future Shop.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like, we're going to convert all this. We could convert all the stores, but now people are so loyal to this brand. They know the brand, everything. Like, let's keep this going.
Right. Compete against ourselves.
Yeah. And then they came up with their dual brand strategy, which is like, okay, so if you're going to make a purchasing decision, it's going to be, you typically go to like 3 different places before you make your final decision. So why not take 2 of them and make them ours? Because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Future Shop, and then what would I go, like A&B Sound at the time, or like Walmart, London Drugs, okay, all these different things. Or it's like, okay, I'll go to Future Shop or Best Buy, and then something else. And they make the offering at those 2 so good, they're like, okay, well, it's going to be one of the 2 of these. But then online shopping became a thing instead of like, I mean, because think about it, like in, like 05, like your prices for stuff weren't online. Like even 2010, like, this is still pretty recent,
pretty new stuff.
So if you're saying like, I want to go buy this TV, you walk in there, you're like, it's $2,000 here. You walk into the other store, oh, it's $2,000 here too. You walk in the other one, like, oh, it's $2,500 there. Okay, well, I'm going to one of the first 2 I saw. Yeah. Whereas you walk into a store, you're like, I like that TV.
Yeah, while you're sitting there.
All right, 2,000 here, 2,000 here, 2,000 here, 2,100 here, blah, 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 blah. There's 10, 15 different places. Okay, they've got the cheapest. Hey, do you guys price match? Okay, I'll take it. And then there's no walking around from business to business. So it's kind of, it run its course. And so they just basically decided they're going to stick with their main brand name, I guess. So
sure. There you go. Yeah. No, that makes sense, because there was a time when, you had to go to Future Shop or Best Buy, London Drugs. Those are the 3 places I used to go: London Drugs, Future Shop, and I don't know, wherever else. But you actually had to physically go to those stores to find out pricing and whatnot. But now you just go to one store and you're done, because you'll know before you even go.
Yeah, you're like, say, okay, well, this TV should be $800. I'm like, hey, it is. All right, perfect. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So you just don't really have to do. All the research is done, and half the time the customers coming in nowadays are like looking at it like, I looked at this one, and this one's got it's got the 3 millisecond blah, 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 and
they know more about it than you do, because they've read so much.
dang, like I didn't know that's a thing. Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, you obviously have researched this well. What else can you tell me about it? And they're like, perfect. I could learn from you. And then and they're like, perfect, awesome, great. Well, here we go. And now you got the product.
Yeah.
So it's the whole landscape for that kind of thing has really changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, anything involving selling anything has.
Yeah. Oh, yes, for sure.
Like,
yeah, consumers are just more knowledgeable and more informed than ever. Yeah.
I mean, I think there'll always be like a market for boutique style things. Mm-hmm. Like if you're depending on what you're looking for, is either like high quality or high service type things. Yeah. There's always going to be a market for that kind of thing.
Sure.
Like what you do, I don't think you're going to have
cigar stores are kind of boutiquey.
Yeah, it's very boutiquey. Like I think of boutiquey, I think of like what the cigar store looks like inside. Like,
it's like a boutique.
Just how it's furnished and stuff. But how half of what you do, like you give a cigar and someone's like smells it and they're like, oh yeah, that's going to be a good one. You can't do that if you're buying that online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you like open up the box, you're like, oh wow, that's got a really cool aroma.
Yeah, and then we talk about that and how that's going to translate into flavor, and there's lots of things you can discuss and talk about and help them with their decision making. It's not necessarily, you can get the information from reading, but it's not that easy because it's experience.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, sure, you could say like, oh, I'd like to have like one case of cigars and order it. And if you're having the same thing every time, I guess you could.
People do that too. Yeah.
But like if they're saying like, oh, you know what, today's a special occasion. I want something that's really like, and you go in and they're like, here you go. This
and
is
you want to shop. You're going to shop for it.
So there's definitely certain things that are like that. But for like commodity things, if someone wants a TV under $1,000, like, like you get so many people are like, what's better? Is it, LG or Sony or Samsung or Toshiba or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we're like, well, what's important? Like, well, I want to keep it under $1,000. Then, to be honest, any one of these TVs for $900, you're going to say this is great. Yeah. Like, because it's under $1,000, and that's your most important thing. And you got to get into like the $3,000 things or the $4,000 things to really be like, oh, I see why this one's so good. Has
the price of TVs gone up? Because other like electronics seem to have gone up since COVID. Like I've been looking at an amp from Best Buy. Yeah. And it's like $2,000 right now, and I'm sure it was $1,300 or $1,400 before COVID.
For some things, I think like an amp, like you're talking like a receiver amp.
Yeah.
To be honest, those things are probably going up because the demand is going down. Like we don't even sell, like we've got like like the big tower speakers and stuff. I can't remember the last time we sold one of those.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like I've got like a big surround sound system in my living room and stuff, and people are like, wow, you still have those? Like,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, like this is the best sound. Like, yeah, but like
because they want all really good. They soundbar, yeah.
So it's like everyone buys a soundbar, but yeah, but it's not the same. They're like, yeah, but it's close.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
you
get.
If you want that full theater experience, you need to do what you've done. If you just have a living room and you have a TV in it, soundbar's a great option.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you got so many people like you put the TV above the mantle.
I hate that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Kinks your fucking neck. You don't look at a TV.
Yeah, it's just like, I thought you were just like, oh, it's so tacky. Like, have a TV up there. I'm like,
no, it's just too fucking high. I'm like looking at the thing like this. I can't.
I was about to go into full sales pitch for the Samsung Frame TV.
It is nice.
Like, it's nice. A TV when it's on, art when it's off.
It is nice. No, my TV, when I sit on my couch, my TV is at eye level.
That's true.
I designed it like that.
Our upstairs TV, like I have to I lie down on my couch and lie down like that so that I'm like, oh, this is perfect because I'm like sitting there like
it's a bit
not as comfy.
I know.
But the upstairs TV is not really there for I don't know the TV above the mantle. It's more so that I can in the kitchen cooking. There we go. I feel like a Food Network chef, and then I'm also looking at the TV.
So people don't use like an amplifier, like a receiver?
Very rarely now, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because the two main things that people
I'm looking at a receiver for integrated sound, Wi-Fi. I can stream Spotify to it. I can stream whatever music, whatever I'm using for music to that. Pipe it through the house. Pipe it through the speakers. Whatever.
Yeah.
What are people doing? Or they got like Sonos or something?
Sonos is like just killing it for that kind of stuff. Because you just basically like I did Sonos for my upstairs. I was like, said to my girlfriend when we bought our place, I'm like, okay, upstairs we're putting speakers in the ceiling. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to climb into the attic and I'm going to like cut everything.
Yeah.
It's like, there will be holes in our ceiling and I will be putting speakers in there. She's like, okay, as long as it's fine. And then I looked at it and like, it's like, I just ended up buying like 2 Sonos speakers and I put them on top of the kitchen cabinets, like like the very, very top.
Yeah.
And had a soundbar on the TV and the whole room sound no problem. I just pull my phone, stream to it.
Oh, okay.
It plays the surround sound from the TV as well. So when it's on TV, the speakers in the kitchen act as the surround sound. It was just so easy, and it was, to be honest, about the same price it would have been to actually. But it's probably cheaper than it would have been to integrate, because it cut holes, install it. I mean, if I do my own labor, sure, it's free, but my time's worth something.
Yeah.
And like buying a receiver, buying the speakers.
Really? Eh?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's surprising.
Interesting. Well, I've already got speakers in the ceiling and sound, but I'd like a wireless option. Like my amp's too old to have. It doesn't have Bluetooth.
Ultimately, like I still am a firm believer that like that's the best option. Having the speakers in the ceiling, like having everything fully concealed. Like I remember once I built a home theater room for a guy, and it was like about 20 grand in speakers. But we did everything to, like, he had a projector on the wall. We had the speakers behind the projector, in the ceiling, in the walls. They were all painted to match. Even had the subwoofers. You can buy these ones that go just in between the 2x4s. It's like it uses the space in between.
Yeah.
And it looks like just like a little like register vent at the bottom. So it looks like nothing, but the whole wall is essentially your subwoofer.
Cool.
Yeah, so we did like that's the shit. Like that's the stuff to do, but it's so rare.
Yeah.
And like you've got to catch someone who's like doing a new build, who's like, I'm building this house. I'm willing to spend $20,000 on a home theater, and there's no drywall on the walls.
Yeah,
it's just the studs.
Yeah.
Like, to find that person
is rare.
They're not shopping every day. Whereas the person says like, I'm in my condo and I want to have music in my living room and my bedroom. Do you have a speaker that I could put in my bedroom that I could stream to both?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Just take this, put it on the dresser or something like that. So obviously the best way is to build it all in, but
it's hard.
It's just the number of people that are actually doing that is so, it's a really small number of people.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm just like thinking, shit, I'm gonna get that receiver soon, but I was like, holy shit, it's gone up so much. I just couldn't believe it. Yeah.
I that's the only thing I think of, is that like the demand isn't very high for them right now. I don't even really look at that kind of the pricing on those things most of the time. It's just a matter of like, it's all about like TVs, laptops, phones, like those things just fly out of there.
Right.
Or or like the new video game stuff. That's crazy. Like I was looking on like Facebook Marketplace, and it's like, oh, what's new for sale? Just everyone looking around and see if there's like a used tool or something I want to buy. And it's like PlayStation 5, Xbox, $1,500. Like, it's just like a page of them, each of them. They're all selling for anywhere from $1,100 to $1,500.
These are all the new ones.
There's the new ones. People are just buying them and immediately trying to scalp them.
Oh, I see.
Just because they only go for like $600, like retail.
Okay,
and they're buying and trying to turn around and sell them for like 2-3 times as much.
Right, they're trying to make a buck.
Yeah, it's like, damn, you're a piece of shit. Some kid's not getting a PlayStation for Christmas.
Yeah. But then the year-old models of those, probably pretty good pricing.
I mean, well, I don't think they haven't really gone down much, but they're only worth like, they're less than $400.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're like, the new one's worth almost $600-700, and the old one's worth like,
and that's brand new $400.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just people wanting to be on the cutting edge.
Yeah, I know people. Yeah. If you can avoid being on that fine razor edge of brand new technology, you can save a shitload of money.
Oh yeah, if you're not always keeping up with the Joneses, like you're not an early adopter, like getting the what's just with anything, like you're like, oh, I want to buy a new car, I'm like, or I want a 1-year-old car. Like, just the difference in those two prices
it's huge.
Is crazy.
It's huge,
like, it's anything like, I want the newest one.
Yeah.
How about the second newest one?
Yeah.
And it's just...
This second newest one was the newest one last year, and it was top of the line, better than anything ever last year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's now not all of a sudden a piece of shit because it's 1 year old, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, fuck, this one sucks now. Like, oh, what's the new one got? It's 3% better.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take the old one for 50% cheaper.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever it is.
Exactly. Do you guys have the new iPhone 12 yet?
We got it in the store. I didn't buy one, but...
No, I'm not going to buy one either.
Yeah, well, they're awesome. They look really good. To be honest, I look at it and I'm like, I like it. It looks classy. The big thing, it looks super classy, I think.
Is it red or?
No red. Well, there's a shitload of colors that came out.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Because there's a whole bunch of different models, and they actually sort of sorted their stuff out now. There's like the Mini, the regular, the Pro, and the Pro Max. So there's like 4 different ones. There's like silver, gold, graphite, like gray, and blue, and then the regular ones also got green and red.
Okay.
So
so lots of colors.
Yeah, there's a lot of color options, stuff like that. It looks pretty cool, but
it's basically the same phone.
It's faster.
Okay.
And it's got a way better camera.
Oh, does it?
The camera's newer. It's got this thing called LiDAR. And it's like
is that like Gator?
Take a picture, like, oh wow, there we go. That's a lot. It's like radar with light.
Oh,
so it's like for like night vision.
Oh,
so you just take a picture like we tried to take a picture in like a dark room.
Yeah, and
it was like, oh my god, it's like you can actually see really well.
Really?
Yeah, like the previous one had like a kind of like a
I've got the
photo.
11. It's got it's like a timed exposure.
Yeah,
basically.
So it's basically that, but like normally like hold it like, and oh shit, you moved, you're blurry.
Yeah.
And but when you do it, it's like we did it when like at the beginning of the lockdown, we were going to the park down by our place, and we just had 4 of us. We put lawn chairs in the middle of the park, and like it'd get dark. We were like, oh, try out your phone. And it looked like it was like we were like 10 o'clock at night and pitch black, and the picture looked like it was like the
midday.
sun was just setting.
Yeah.
Oh wow! But like you have to hold it for a while.
Yeah.
The new one is like there
just
we go.
A click.
It's just like it's really fast. So.
Wow, neat.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, I'm sure next year it'll be even crazier.
Yeah,
like
not enough for me to upgrade. I mean, I've got the 11, whatever the big one, the Pro XL or whatever it is.
Unless you like, it's really the camera is the newest greatest thing every year.
Yeah. Yeah, for social media, it's good for me to have a bit better camera, but I'm not taking pictures in the middle of the night anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just take pictures of my dog with mine. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got?
What
kind of a dog?
It's a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Oh.
Yeah, he just turned 1 year old last week on the 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's just a big like goofy, dumb, funny, floppy around dog.
Right.
But he's massive. So he's 1 year old, and he's about like I'll be standing up, and I have to like kind of just reach a little over to like pet him standing.
Oh.
And he weighs about 95 pounds. So it's a big dog.
Yeah.
So he's a lot of fun though. Just so much personality. He's hilarious.
Cool.
So yeah, and he's got his own like Instagram account and everything like that.
Are you serious? Oh my god.
Yeah, at a burner named Winston if you want to follow.
A burner named Winston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, burner Berner, like Bernese Mountain Dog.
Yeah.
But this is like I've got my own Instagram account that I've posted 8 times in 8 years, and he's got like 140 posts, and he's got more followers than I do.
Nice. What a riot.
Yeah, my ultimate goal is to like have him like. It's like my goal in life is have him get sponsored and pick up on something, and then I can just make money off of him.
There you go. Yeah.
And my dog's my retirement plan.
That's not a bad. I mean, that's not a bad angle. I mean, what the hell?
No, it's like there's a couple dogs that like I've seen on there that they've got like millions of followers, and they're like winning like Webby awards for content and stuff.
Then they're making money.
Yeah, exactly.
If a dog's got 1 million followers, he's making some cash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
That's funny.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Why not?
Yeah, not even at 1,000 yet. So.
Shit.
Yeah, not retiring anytime soon.
No. Yeah, that's the dream, right? That's the dream. But yeah,
it's all about that passive income.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not hard, not easy. It's simple, the idea. It's a very simple idea, but being consistent and diligent and creating interesting content is not easy.
Yeah, no, and that's the tricky part. Even just like with a dog, you're like, okay, the dog's cute, but then like, how many times does someone want to watch me taking it for a walk on the same route?
Yeah.
All right, we got to go a different place. Well, now I'm going to drive it out there. It's like, okay, well, do I really want to go like drive out?
It's all of a sudden becoming a job.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, for what it's worth, nah, not really. But
I remember when I was in New York like a year and a bit ago, and we were in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I guess you could see we were kind of on a street, buildings lining either side. We're right down by the river, which would be the East River, I guess. And the Manhattan Bridge is there. Yeah. And it's really cool the way these buildings kind of frame the Manhattan Bridge in behind. And you should have seen all the people getting their picture taken. Oh. And not in a way like, just like, hey, click, we're here, listen to this one. Like, beautiful women. Sometimes they were boyfriend. Sometimes they were Instagram boyfriends. Sometimes it was daddy. Yeah. The whole thing. And I think what I mean by daddy is actually their father.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just like, sugar daddy. You gotta classify it.
Yeah, right. I know. At least I think it was their father. I could be wrong, right? Sometimes it's hard to know. But like standing in the middle of the road at the when it says walk, get in the middle of the road quickly, pose, do the pose, like 20 pictures, look sexy, look pretty, look cute, look fun. Yeah. I'm like, holy fuck. And it was insane. It was insane because it was just like everywhere.
That reminds me, like, have you seen the picture of like the Leaning Tower? And someone takes a picture and it's just a whole bunch of people like,
yes,
and like only like none of them are like in the shot because they took it off. It just looks like there's a bunch of fucking dumbasses like holding the tower.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. It's like just so like, all right, look at these guys, the super original pose.
Well, I remember posting some stuff about New York on my Instagram, and it would get like 100 likes.
Yeah,
100, and I got no one. Right? Yeah, I've got nobody. So 100 likes is lots for me.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You post a picture of Seinfeld, the restaurant, and you get 130 likes without doing fuck all. Yeah. So I guess it's good for them if they're hashtagging New York and Manhattan Bridge or Brooklyn Bridge or whatever. Or Brooklyn, and it's gonna get them some views, but pretty hilarious though. I was just like, that's the first time I've ever really seen that, like, to that kind of extent.
It's pretty nutty. Like, just like you're seeing like what it's worth, like for like what you're seeing. And the other crazy one is like seeing the people that are doing stuff for like exposure, like it's like give me a free hotel stay and I'll like shout you out on social media. And some of them are like these people that think they're like ultra hot shit. Like, I've got 5,000 followers. Like,
yeah, it's worth fuck all.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Add 2 more zeros on that, and then now we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, it's crazy the different like, just like what some of this has become, and like just like what someone's actual like some of these people's job are.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like with these girls getting their photos taken in front of the bridge there. Now, I look at it as vanity and ridiculous, but if they have 1 million or 2 million followers on Instagram, they need to do that. That's like their job now.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I think it's stupid. But on the other hand, if they've got that many followers, then they need content daily to maintain that and keep the sponsorship going, keep their advertising dollars going, and keeping everything going. So then on the other hand, I'm like, well, if it's their fucking job, then I guess they got to keep doing it.
It's really stupid, but it's also brilliant.
Yeah. If you're just doing it, you're not getting paid, you're doing it, and it's just pure vanity.
But then you also look at it as like, it's like, okay, well, like, someone made an entire living just on being hot and standing in front of stuff. Like, good for them.
Good for them.
But like, if they're raking in a 6-figure income from just like standing in front of things and taking selfies, like, good for you. Fucking great.
Yeah.
And then you look at another person, you're like, oh, what a fucking idiot they are, because they're trying to do that, but they only got like 200 followers. But like, I guess the 1 million follower person had to start somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
everyone started with 0 followers.
Yeah, exactly. They're starting somewhere, but it's like,
I know we're fucked.
Yeah.
We are fucked.
Yeah.
As a society.
Oh, big
time. I don't blame the Instagrammers so much. I just think everything's just all kind of screwy.
Well, I thought it's the whole like I guess we'll call it the American mentality, and Canada follows as kind of like the little brother and kind of thing like this. We do the same thing, but I can't remember who made the quote, but it was like, holy shit, that's bang on. It's that people don't think themselves as being poor. They see themselves as being temporarily down on their luck millionaires.
Oh, really?
So it's like I'm not a poor piece of shit on welfare. Like just you wait, I'll hit my moment, and then I'm going to be up there. And no one thinks of like looking at like that rock star, that star athlete, that actor as being like, that's nothing I could ever do in my life. They look at it as something that's like, you know what? Given the opportunity, I could do that too.
Really?
And that's
some of them could.
Yeah, and it's funny because people say like, oh, you're
given the opportunity, I could do that, but I think instead I'm just gonna sit here and game.
Yeah,
or fucking like just hang out on the couch all day and read a book.
Well,
which is great.
Oh, exactly. And it's like one of those things is like, if someone said like, I get it all the time being tall. Like, why didn't you play basketball professionally? And it really came down to, it was like, you know what? It wasn't like I enjoy it. It's definitely something I do recreationally. I still play, but it's not something I was looking at. I'm like, I would like to spend every waking hour of my day practicing so that I can be better than every other person, whether it be lifting weights, going for a run, shooting, practice, whatever. Plus, stack that all on top of my physical stature, my ability to not be injured, and just natural raw talent. Take all of those things and put myself into the whatever percentile. It's like, I looked at it and said, nah.
Yeah, being tall is not enough. Yeah,
no, and then they're like, oh, you're almost 7 feet tall. Like, there's only like so many people that are that tall. I'm like, yeah, but the ones that are doing it professionally have also like been practicing since they were 4 years old. They've done all the I'm like, I'm tall, but I've done other things in my life and I've focused on it. And yeah, I've sat on my ass and played video games sometimes. I've gone out and gotten drunk with my friends instead of going to the gym.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I've done that don't equate to being a professional athlete. But the thing is that everyone looks at that and saying that like, hey, that's attainable. That's something that I could do. Like, and you need people like that, because if you look at the actual people who are the professional athletes, everyone's like, nah, whatever. And no, you'll see. They're just sitting there like practicing dribbling, like, mom's like, come to the dinner table, like 1 sack and dribbling 5, and then like, and then that kid all of a sudden gets, goes to college and then gets drafted, and you're like, oh, okay, shit, like
that's why.
That's one that actually made it.
Yeah.
And so like for everyone that actually does, there's probably like 1 million that don't. But that there's that mindset that anyone can make it.
So are you saying that like when I look at a pro athlete, I'm like, I could never fucking make it. In my mind, I never ever thought that I'd go pro.
Yeah. That's fair.
Ever. In any sport.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not saying
I'm not even darts. Right? Okay, but are you saying with social media now that people think that they could get, like, anyone thinks that they can make it?
In their respective fields. I'm not saying that everyone thinks that they could do anything, but everyone has one thing that they think that if they applied themselves to, and I did this, I could potentially do that.
Oh, I see.
And it's kind of like it's like everyone, like, no one plays the lottery thinking that they'll never win.
Right.
But the lottery is super, super popular. So people buy tickets because just on that off chance, I want to be the one who does it. And I want to be the one that wins it. And, people continue to do those things. And you see all these people doing this stuff and you're like, you know what? I could do that too. And so there's that, like, it's like, you know what? Just because I'm some piece of shit, welfare, trailer park, 7 children from this person and 8 from the other. Yeah. We're sitting here doing that. Just because all that, well, there's that reality show of the lady that had like 8 kids. Like, that could be me.
Right.
Just, she's a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, you know what? Someone will find that interesting. Someone might find mine backwards way of life or whatever to be cool, and they're going to find something, and so you know what, I'm going to video every moment of my life, and maybe someone will take it. So everyone's got that kind of, like, there's so much of that, like, you know what, maybe I will. Like there's just a potential, like who could be.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I've never had that kind of confidence. Like really.
No, I mean, I guess it's a bit of an overstatement saying everyone. I definitely don't think everyone does, because there's a lot of. He's definitely like the silent majority in most cases. Like everyone that you're hearing, everyone that you're seeing, you're looking like TV, politics, everything. All those people that are like, yelling about whatever they might be yelling on, whatever side of issue. You're like, oh my God, like I don't know, like what that, like that's brutal. I don't believe those people. And 90% of the people are sitting there at home thinking the exact same thing. But there's a lot of like that mentality of that, like, just wait, I'll make it. And I think that is primarily a North American thing. Like looking at other parts of the world, like take it Europe, Asia, Africa, different things like that. People aren't looking at it and they're like, just you wait. I'm going to be the next world-renowned whatever. I don't think there's that same kind of mentality all throughout the world.
Right. Okay. So. Yeah, I guess I can see that, because I could believe that you or anyone in North America, Canada, US, I think we're very similar.
Yeah.
As much as Canadians don't want to think that we are. Oh,
big time.
I think.
Yeah.
Canadians, fucking sunshine and out of our asshole all the time, thinking we're better than the Americans. It's like, I think when you boil it down, we're pretty similar. But anyway,
very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I maybe I agree with what you're saying, and the reason I say that is because you or any of my friends or whomever, if you said I want to be a huge Instagram star, I think you could do it.
Yeah.
But it comes down to the same thing that you have to do to be a programmer, the best sales guy, the best manager, the best bouncer, the best bartender, server, whatever. You've got to focus.
Yeah.
You've got to put the time in, the effort in, the hours. And I think that maybe it's because everything is just so great in Canada.
Yeah.
That we don't have to worry about where our next meal's coming from. We can actually focus on something like that. We could be the next best musician, the next greatest singer, the next greatest juggler, whatever the fuck it is, And
I mean,
maybe that's why we think that way, because we've got so much other shit just already taken care of, basically.
Yeah, because our base level, I mean, I guess this is the very definition of what they call privilege. I hate using catchphrases like that. It's like, no, I'm not trying to jump on any side here. I'm just saying that, like, that's what it is. But if you look at like a third world country.
Yeah, they're worried about where the next meal is coming from.
Yeah, what we're looking at is like, this is a shitty day. Yeah. That's their 1 million followers. I made it.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, one day I'm going to live in a house that I own, and I never have to worry about where my next food comes from.
Yeah.
And we're, like, that's where we start. So the next step is always, what do you aspire to?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely like where we are in Canada. Like we got it made. Like that's what we're in such a good situation that like that's what we think we can do. That's the next jump. Like, and yeah, if you put like, and I agree with what you're saying. Like, yeah, if you put like everything into something, it seems like not a lot is unattainable.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's kind of like, that's the American dream, as they say. You live in North America. You're like, anything you put your mind to it, you can do.
Yeah.
And there's other parts in the world. No,
it's not going to happen. Yeah,
You're one of a billion.
Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah.
No, there's already 1 million people better than you, and that's just by statistics.
Yeah.
That's not even considering that their work ethic's better too. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like we were talking just before this about this podcast and podcasters and guys that creators in general can make a pretty good living, and I'm like, I've got like 50 views a video, and then sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, man, why am I even doing this? Like, this is bullshit. I'm not trying to get rich off of this.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice if more people watched, right? Yeah. I'm like, why am I even doing this? But then I'm like, Jesus, quit your fucking bitching. You've only done like not even 20 shows yet. Yeah. I've only been working on it since just a little before COVID. I had to take a bunch of time off because no one would come. Yeah. COVID.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I? Can't expect success, whatever this success for this would be, that quick.
No.
You know, it didn't come to me that quick when I had opened up my little business.
Yeah.
It was like 5 years of hell.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think that's with anything, right? We just got to be more realistic.
Oh, big
and
time.
we're not going to go viral per se. I mean, sure, there's few people that do, but
Yeah. I mean, you can, like I say, you can win the lottery, both literally or figuratively. Like, you can win the lottery by putting a ticket and getting $1 million. You could win the lottery by just happening to, you know, you might be doing a podcast and you accidentally do something and you drop something and you make a funny sound and then people sample it and they're like, what was that video that funny sound came from? And you're like, oh, it's my pants ripping when I bent over to pick up something or something.
Whatever, yeah.
And it's just some dumb shit, but like, who knows? There's no way of predicting where lightning strikes kind of thing. Like,
that's right.
So
that's right. Just got to keep on keeping on.
yeah, exactly.
Just keep on keeping on. For anyone listening, you'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll all get there. I mean, that's the great thing. And I think that's coming back to your point. That's the great thing about living in North America. If you just keep on.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep on putting in the time, putting in the practice, putting in the hours, getting the content, you will get where you want to go.
Yeah, but I think that's the important distinction too. Is that like, oh, it looks something would be is the difference is the difference between saying that, knowing that, like, you know, keeping on. It's not a matter of just hopefully maybe I'm just going to sit here and keep doing the same thing.
No.
It's a matter of like
innovate.
You got to put in that, like, the whole like was it the Wayne Gretzky 10,000 hours?
10,000 hours.
Was that Gretzky?
I don't know if it was Gretzky, but yeah.
But yeah, it was the 10,000 hours thing. You put in 10,000 hours of doing anything, and that's how long it becomes for mastery.
That's right.
And like, it's a fucking lot of time.
Are we recording over there? Yeah, the red light's on.
Yeah,
can you imagine? We're recording down here. So
there we go.
I need a producer, man. I'm always freaking out about the equipment and like, is the sound good? Dude. So stressful.
You need a Jamie.
I know, I need a Jamie. Oh, you know who Jamie is. That's good. Nobody knows who fucking Jamie is in my world. A couple people do, but not many.
Jamie, you get a picture of that big fucking ape. Like, I look at that fucking giant arms on him. Oh, I could rip your cock off. That guy's so big. Jamie, put that up on the screen there.
That's right. Yeah. And 3 seconds later, Jamie's got it on the fucking screen, right?
Like,
there's a big gorilla that just ripped the guy's cock off. You know, like,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that's the video though. I think there's another one.
Oh yeah. Scroll down a bit more. Yeah, there it is. There. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched Rogan in a while now. His new studio pissed me off so bad.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What, since he's gone to Spotify, or?
No, well, the Spotify deal hasn't really changed much yet because he's still on YouTube until the end of the year. Nothing's changed.
Oh, is he going just audio only, or?
I subscribe to Spotify, but
me too.
But no, you can get the video on Spotify too. So I don't know how the hell that works. Like, I really don't.
I don't know anything.
I have to check it out. But no, he's going to Spotify exclusively at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So he's only got 2 more months of YouTube YouTube. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. No, I'm going to get back into him. I just haven't had the time. His new studio isn't that great.
Is that like the giant warehouse?
No, he's got that thing that looks like people call it like a big red suppository. It's like a it's like a semicircle room. It's long. It's all red and kind of weird.
I haven't watched or
he moved to Texas recently.
Okay.
So I watch him on YouTube.
Yeah, I always listened. I used to listen to him in the car.
Okay.
And it was just audio podcast, and I was very selective about which ones I listened to as well.
Yeah, because he's got all sorts of different guests, so some of them aren't going to be interesting to you.
No, I pretty much was all like the science ones.
Yeah,
so
those
like
are good.
As a scientist, or like I was like, oh, it says doctor in the name. Well, I'll listen to this one. And like a lot of the UFC fighters, I'm like,
yeah, I'm not into it either. I never watched those.
Even watching the UFC, I don't really, for the most part, like listening to actually like a fighter talk about it. Like, oh, then he faked me with the left, and I hit him with the right. I'm like, okay, I watched the fight. That's thanks. That's good.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
but and then every once in a while, I'll like listen to some of the more political ones, and just because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Oh yeah.
For the most part, I try and stay away from it, but it's like, all right. Okay, fuck. What does he have to say?
Yeah, I'm getting really tired of politics.
Big time.
Yeah, really tired of it. I can never be woke enough, progressive enough for the fucking people around me. I'm done. I am fucking done. I am telling you this for real.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how progressive I get, how open-minded I am, woke, whatever the term, it's never enough. Fuck you. That's what I say. You know, I am more progressive today than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Way more left-leaning than ever. But it's just never enough. It's never a fucking enough.
And I think so much of this is like mistaken or lost identity in politics. Because if you get right down to the absolute fundamental, like you have progressive versus conservative are essentially the two kind of things. Progressive means like, this is great, but we need to progress forward. We need to change it from the way it is. Conservative,
try and make it better and better and better.
Yeah, conservative says
the status quo is good.
We're good. This is good. Let's keep it this way. And that's your utter essence of the way that the two sides are built.
Sure.
Because it's literally progressive versus conservative. Keep moving. Stay put. But then we've gotten too much into the like. A proper political cycle should be like, progressive, conservative, progressive. Like it should flip back and forth.
Right.
Because it's like, we need to make a change. We made the change. Now we need to stick with it. Now we need to make a change.
Right.
And so it should go back and forth. But it's now turned into this like, oh, if you are, then you are. If you are progressive, then you should have these feelings on, on different people's rights, on these religions, on these taxes, on these kind of things. If you're conservative, then you should be the opposite of that. And it isn't black and white. It's not A or B.
No.
It could be a little bit of A with a sprinkle of B. It's like, and the problem is there's so much of like.
Is that what they call identity politics now? Like you have to be
exactly
in one group and you can't diverge ever?
So it's saying if you're a fundamental like religious Christian, then you're obviously a conservative person because that's the party of.
That's where you're supposed to be.
That's where you're supposed to be. But and it's saying if you think that gay people have rights, well then you're a liberal.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
not really.
Yeah, I was like, no, that just means I'm reasonable.
Yeah.
And it becomes that polarizing, and you put in something as simple as like, so you could have someone who's gay thinking that like, okay, well, I this is what I have to be, but I don't necessarily think that this is what we should do with our taxes. It's like, okay, well then are you conservative? Then you have to stop being gay. Well, no, I can't stop that. And then it's like, okay,
yeah, right.
And so it becomes so. Like you say, this is your political identity.
Yeah. Shouldn't be that way.
No,
you should be able to pick and choose what you think is right.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes so frustrating. And then there's the whole thing is that people make mistakes. Talk about the whole woke culture. Someone says like, man, I was like 13 years old and I was understanding what offensive jokes were. If you recorded everything that I said at 13 years old,
you'd be in jail right now.
Yeah, they're like. Yeah. You'd be canceled. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
Whereas I was like, hey, I fully admit, like, I was 13 years old. I was a fucking idiot, but I know that wasn't right. And he's like, I've learned from it. I've moved on from it.
Yeah.
And, so many people are like, oh, just because that person made a statement, well, they're canceled now.
That's the problem with the internet. You make a statement today, like we say something stupid on this podcast, it goes on the internet, it sits there for 20 years. We've completely changed our point of view and our perspective. Someone sees that today for the first time 20 years from now. It was like it happened this minute.
Oh, big time.
Right? And it's not like we've grown or changed or learned.
Huge.
They don't see that.
They're like. I think they said in like the next 5 years or so, the concept of forgetting will be obsolete.
Oh, really?
Like, I forgot won't be a thing.
Oh.
Because
you can always Google it.
Because you can Google it. Like, you're going to have your social media with, like body cams, with recordings, with blah, 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 blah. That essentially there's not going to be a physical way to just, oops, I forgot. It's like, no, there's going to be a reminder in something or whatever. Like you could have a personal device that's going to record it. It's going to be like some shit out of Black Mirror that they're kind of predicting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucked up show.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Only like 1 or 2 episodes.
Oh, dude,
that's where each episode's a little different.
Every
right?
episode's
completely different.
It's like the modern Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I've only seen like a couple episodes.
I love that show. It's so like it's fucked up, but like you're like, damn.
Yeah, that was the one. Which one did I see? The one where the guy and the girl kind of fall in love, or he likes her, and then she goes off to the game show or something to be a singer. It's like to be a singer.
Oh, that was the newest season, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And she goes off to be a singer, but then when she's being a singer, she's not that great a singer, but she's pretty cute.
Yeah.
So they turn her into this pornographer.
Oh, yeah.
Or this porn star, and they totally use her and abuse her and just like toss her away basically and just turn her into this like sex slave.
Yeah.
And then the guy that is fond of her works super hard to get enough credits so that he can go on this show.
Yeah.
Right? And then
you can like see her,
and then he threatens to kill himself when he's on the show, when he's doing his singing thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
Yeah.
So then he falls into the same trap.
And then they're like, oh, I do the thing where he's going to like hold
every
the
day.
and
he becomes famous too. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's interesting.
I think my 2 favorite ones are like just for like, well, like it's just like the whole like what the fuck, like one is there's the guy has a thing where it like makes you like, it's like implanted in your head and it records everything that happens. And so he's like has an argument with his wife or whatever, and they're like going back and forth. They're like, well you said, and they're like, and they rewind it, and they're like, oh, you said, okay, you were right. And then like they're talking about this stuff, and they're like, this kind of goes about his life, and then he's like gets his wife or something like, or they get in a fight, and then he's like trying to rewind, like going through his entire memory to look at like what happened,
who was right or wrong or whatever.
And he then sees a scene at a party where they're there. And then like he like catches like a reflection off of something and then can see like, and he puts together like this whole scenario because he's able to just rewind through his memory, and it's all like super fucked up. And then he drives himself crazy and he's like, oh my God. Like, and it's just like, that's what, it's because all it is like, here's a really, really cool technology thing that could happen. But then it's like, but here's what bad could happen because of it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which is really good, is that like, it's like a social media one where everyone's got like a score. Like, if you take like an Uber, you're like 5 stars, you're a great driver. And then you're like, oh yeah, there's a 5-star driver around here. There's a 3-star driver. Like, oh, I'll take the 5-star guy and keep going. So that everyone has a score. So they're like, all right, you're a nice guy, that you're friendly to everyone. You're like a 9.2. And like, I'm a bit of a dick and I told someone to fuck off last week and I'm an 8.4.
Yeah.
And this is girl. But then it's become like the whole everything in life. So you're going to get denied on like loan applications if you're people under 8, or like, this neighborhood right here, only 9s can live here because we want to like, and so then this girl like does all this stuff and she's like, oh, I'd like oh, thank you. You're just sickeningly polite. And then someone like comes and just like sits in her chair or something like that. And she's like, oh, that was my seat. They're like, no, this was, and then like they have like a, she's like, no, it was my seat. They're like, I can't believe you're being so bad like this. And they're like, that's a 9.5. Like, you're a 9.1. Like, obviously she had that seat first. And then everyone's like, down, like she's bad. And she drops, and then she gets like denied for her loan. And then like falls out of society. And then she's like, oh, fuck. And then discovers like a secret society, essentially like the sub society of people that don't give a fuck about their scores.
Yeah.
She like gets picked up hitchhiking by this like truck driver with like a 1.2 score or something, and turns out to be like the realest, nicest person she's ever met.
Yeah.
But it's like it's fucked that like that kind of stuff is actually...
Isn't it something like that happening right now in China or something? Did I hear about something? Was it China?
I'm not sure. It's that sounds like something that could. I remember hearing about it that essentially are like a
city where they're doing some sort of a thing through facial recognition or something, and you've got these scores and stuff. I don't know. I wish I had a Jamie. You could Google that shit.
Jamie, give us the thing.
yeah, look this up for me.
Yeah,
but I could swear I heard something about that. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, but like these things aren't that far off reality.
No.
And like, I mean, like Google Glass, that was a thing, like the glasses that they came out with. That was a couple of years ago. They scrapped it, but that could have been very much that other thing, remembering everything, and or like sitting there just looking at, like, oh, okay, and there's Luigi, he's got I can see the logo on his shirt, and like pulls up like off to the side, and like, that's this company, they were founded in this thing, like, oh, okay, cool. And then like you could just get information on anything, like so like just remember like 20 years ago, like even like just having a conversation is like, hey, what was that movie that Robert Downey Jr. was in? Like, the one before he was Iron Man. But it's just like, or whatever movie, and you're like, oh, what was that one where, like it was everything was drawn, and it was like this weird thing, and you're like, I was like, I don't know, like. And you're just sitting there, I'm like, yeah, me neither. Yeah. And that was your conversation. And then you're like, oh, IMDb. And like, oh, fuck, it was that movie. And they're like, yeah. The answer is A Scanner Darkly. That's just what I was thinking of.
Which one?
A Scanner Darkly.
I haven't seen it.
It was one of the first movies that was rotoscoped.
Oh.
Where they like take like the movie and then they apply make it look like animation, but it's all on top of people.
Right.
It's also another like weird futuristic fucked up movie. I just randomly pulled it out of the air. But that's the thing, is that like, but you could have a conversation like that, and if I couldn't remember it, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't remember what that is, and then we're like, yep, I guess we just don't remember. That's it. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. And then just go about our day, and then like 2 days later, I'm like, oh fuck, it was this. Yeah,
I know. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I sit around with a bunch of old guys smoking cigars every now and then. Not lately. Yeah. Fucking COVID. Yeah. And we won't Google it. Like, no one will. Yeah, and people are like, oh, fuck, put the phone away. Who cares, I'm like, I gotta do it. Because I'm like the youngest in the group most of the time. And it's like, I gotta Google it. I gotta know.
Yeah. That's pretty fun, though. Like, I do, like, it's like we just not Googling it. Like, I love, like, if you're going like camping or something like that, and it's like, all right, we're all out of cell phone reception. Yeah. And they're just like, all right, now we're roughing it. We're having to use our actual brains. So you're like, oh, this fucking...
exactly. Yeah, like, so if I say something incorrect on this podcast, I hope that people won't like jump on me. Yeah. Because like, I'm not Googling shit. I could misspeak. I wouldn't do it on purpose, because like, what's the point? But yeah, you could get totally like chastised for making a mistake on the old podcast,
Oh, big time.
Yeah, it's not a mistake.
Yeah, know that everything that we say is coming from a good place, and if we're wrong, then I fully admit that I'm wrong ahead of time. And it's, you know what? If you want to fact check me, just put it below in the comments.
Put it in the comments, and then fuck off.
Yeah, and then that's fine. Just don't cancel me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, please don't cancel me.
Yeah. Fuck. I still just cancel culture just in general.
My customers at my cigar stores are typically too old and too unplugged for me to get canceled. Thank the Lord.
There you
go.
If
I can even say Lord anymore without getting canceled myself. Right?
Did you put a capital L or a lowercase L on when you said Lord?
I'm a little religious, so it would be a capital L.
There we go. But that's a fucked up thing, though. Is that like?
Oh, you can't be a Christian anymore.
No, you can't be anything anymore.
No, yeah, it's true. Can't be a Christian, can't be a Muslim, can't be a Jew, you can't be an atheist even.
You can't be an atheist, no. They just say, what do you believe in? Oh, not much of anything. Oh, are you an atheist? I guess I am.
How dare you?
And you're like, oh, I mean, I'm agnostic. How do you not figure it out? I mean, I guess my parents are Christian, so I'm Christian. Really?
Yeah.
So you don't like? I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Oh my
just leave me alone already.
So
I'm not hurt. We're not hurting anyone.
Yeah. So what do you are? Like, I'm in a constant system of progressing my beliefs in a way that I can learn from it every day and become a better person than I was the day before.
That's something. Okay. That might be okay.
Yeah. All right. Just come up with an acronym for that.
Yeah. That's actually We'll have to write that out.
Yeah, like
figure out a cool acronym.
Yeah. Like, all right, that's what I'm going to be. The better person for trying to progress every day.
Yeah, no, I'm not into that too much, but yeah,
it's all just about trying to be the best you. Like,
sure, and yeah,
it's whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of commonality between a lot of it. It's just try and be better. And if you're sitting there like, nope, not trying, then okay, that's bad. But if you're saying that, like, you know what? Okay, you know what? I said something before, you're right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
just the simplest thing. You're like, hey, you know what? I said that Roger's chocolate is the best chocolate I've ever it's in the world, and then I had Purdy's and I liked it better, so I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Like, you can't say that absolutes, because who knows? You might discover something you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
Which is super fucked up.
What?
People with science. They're like, oh, first you tell us that we have to do this, and then you say don't do that?
No.
Yes, because we're trying constantly to find the best thing. And you know what? We decided to go with the best thing that we knew, and then the best thing we knew, we discovered something better. So let's do this something better. Well, what are you going to say? I'm like, well, probably we'll count something even better than that after that. So but do this because it's currently the best.
Yeah. Yeah, like, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I've got slip-on shoes because they're the easiest. But then I discovered that Velcro shoes hold them on better.
Yeah.
But then I discovered that lace-up shoes actually hold my feet in better. And they're like, okay, well, so what are you saying? I should just not wear shoes? I'm like, no, fucking wear the best ones. And when we come up with something better, wear that one. But
yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that you're basically saying the mask thing. That's what I was reading into.
Yeah, a bunch of different things.
Yeah, but the mask thing is exactly that. It kind of, in some ways, it's a bit of a piss off.
Oh, I have to wear a mask 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I wear a mask all the time too. I don't wear it when I'm at work because we're behind plexi, but we're putting in new mask policies right now. Yeah. Like, I want the guys to wear a mask when they get up from behind the counter, and I just wish it was a little more consistent from the beginning, because it does become a little bit frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Because we want to wear a mask, we want to do the right thing, but we don't always know what the right thing is.
Absolutely. And the most important thing is trying to do the right thing. And so many people are like talking about like, well, this is bullshit, blah, 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 this is bad. And the way I look at it is that, you know what? If I found out in 6 months' time that the mask did absolutely nothing to help, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, then we'll stop wearing it.
Yeah, then I'll stop wearing it. But right now,
we think it helps.
We think it helps, and I'm sitting there thinking, in good conscience, saying that, like, how much does this really affect me? Like, I've got a piece of fabric on my face,
like for real, right?
Yeah, like I got a couple, like, it actually caused, like, you know, the couple like ingrown hairs in my beard from like the moisture.
I think the masks are stupid, but I still wear them.
Yeah, just
because, you know what? I don't know any better.
Yeah,
so I just do it anyway.
Well, and that's a big thing too. Is that like so many people are like, oh well, I watched some girl on the internet was just like, masks are stupid, they don't work, and she like holds a mask, she like, it's got a spray bottle,
that's so stupid.
Like, look, and he does it, and like water drips out. But like the first spray is like it's going everywhere, and the second one is just like a dribble.
Well, if anyone knows how much pressure those little squirt guns make, it's a huge amount of pressure. It's going to go through an N95
But she like
mask.
sprayed it, and it was like all giant cloud of mist, and then it sprayed it, and she's like dribbling off the front.
Yeah, so there you go.
I'm sitting there with this on, and I have a big sneeze. It dribbles onto my chest. It doesn't get on you.
Yeah,
like, you just proved that it works.
Yeah,
and like. Even with those, like, if with any of that shit, like, at the end of the day, if I do this and you're like, oh my god, you're a sheep, you're doing what they say, I'm like, yeah, but you know what? If at the end of the day, we looked at it and you're like, dang, wearing that's going to save, actually was the best thing, it saved thousands of lives, I'd be like, good, I was doing a right thing. I came from a good place. I wanted to make sure that people were safe.
Yeah.
And if they say to it, you know, hey, doing it was what really made no difference. Like, well, I tried. I was doing the best thing I could. I doing the best thing that I knew about. And whereas if I said, you know, fuck it, I don't like wearing a mask, it's stupid, I'd way rather breathe freely, and, you know, I could blame it on the fact that I had asthma as a kid and, you know, different things like that. It's like, yeah, you know what, I need to breathe better. And then I found out that, like, if I found out that I breathed in something and I breathed it on someone and someone's grandma died as a result, I'd feel devastated.
That'd be terrible.
I'd feel so bad. So, you know what? Like, wear a condom when you fuck a stranger.
Yeah.
I know. I don't have AIDS, but I don't know. I might.
You never.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, I've only fucked one person since before AIDS, pretty much. So. Actually, I don't even know if that's a true statement because I don't know when AIDS became a thing.
when it got invented.
Yeah. When did they invent AIDS?
Oh my god. Oh,
that must have been the 80s.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And the conspiracy
So it's a lie because I haven't been with my wife since the 80s. See, I got fucked right there. I lied.
There you go.
Shit,
Now
I'm canceled.
You're canceled. You're done. That's it. It's over. It's over. It's good knowing you. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I could be on your last episode.
Yeah, thanks.
Final episode party. There we go.
Yeah. I got to make it to 20.
Yeah.
What a hoot.
Yeah.
So tell me about your nightclub days.
My nightclub.
Mofo.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What do you want to know? Like, where do we start?
I don't know.
Well, let's say this. So the first club I worked at.
How many people did you find fucking in the bathroom? Is that a thing?
It's double digits for sure.
Holy shit! Really?
Oh, easy.
Oh, I thought that wasn't even going to be a thing.
Oh no, man. I mean, you could. Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah. Like
hilarious.
Yeah. Fucking in the bathroom. Fucking not in the bathroom. Almost fucking on the dance floor. Full on, like, we'll call it, I guess, third base on the dance floor. Like,
what's third base?
I don't know. It depends. It's the next step is fucking. So it's.
Was he getting a blowjob on the dance floor?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. If I was a bouncer, I'd almost feel like bad breaking that up.
Well, to be honest, that was in situations like that. We're just like, you're walking around the club, you're like looking.
Yeah. What the fuck's going on? Yeah. Hey,
there's
guys,
like three dudes.
Hey guys, check this out.
Yeah, they just got like four dudes over, and the one dude's like, I'm gonna shine my flashlight on him. They're like, no, dude's like, bing. The guy's like, and the girl's like,
I wasn't. What? I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, and they're like, and they're like, you know what? It was worth it just for that. Just let them stay. Like, that's fine.
Oh my god.
They're both having a good time. That was consensual.
Yeah.
They're both embarrassed. We got a kick out of it. That's fine. No one's offended. We're good. Like, this is, you guys stay.
Yeah.
We embarrassed the shit out of two people. They had a good time. Done.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So many people, like, well, not so many people, but there's, double digit numbers of finding people doing inappropriate sexual acts in a club.
Yeah.
Consensual ones. I would never joke about ones. I don't want you to get canceled.
I got it.
But
yeah.
I would never joke about ones where that would be
non-consensual. Doesn't that go without saying nowadays? But I guess not.
See, that's the thing, though, is that you got to be specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, the couple that leaned the other way had much different outcomes.
Yes. Oh yes, I'm sure.
Those are the kind of situations when you hand over the person to the police and their nose is over here.
Yeah.
And they say, "What happened?" And you tell them, and they're like, "Do you want another couple minutes with them?"
Yeah.
But like, you're like, "No, it's okay. You guys take care of it." Like,
yeah.
Enough people found him on the way out. No. But yeah, there were definitely, there were some shitty situations, but again, good being able to handle them. And yeah, people don't look highly upon those kind of guys.
No,
but yeah, more on fun stuff though, like just the number of comical situations with people trying to be like, "Oh, I wasn't doing that." Like, guy like doing up his belt, girl like adjusting her skirt, and you're like, "What are you guys doing?" "Nothing."
Yeah.
"What's that wet spot on the couch there?" "Nothing." There's so many just like the fucked up things that people try and get away with when they're drunk. Like at the lineup for the bar, back in the day when the lineups were super big. Remember a guy just being like,
just taking a piss,
right there on the ground, and no one noticed. And people like were walking through it. They're like, "Man, someone spilled a drink or something." Like,
that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
because I wasn't there. That's why that's funny.
Exactly. Yeah, like, oh god.
If they were walking into my club, I wouldn't be happy.
No, big time. Yeah, it's just my absolute favorite though. Out of all of the nightclub stuff was the fake IDs.
Yeah.
Because just
Did you get a couple McLovins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, literally, like after that movie came out.
Are you serious?
A couple people with like the Florida McLovin or whatever, or was it Hawaii? I can't remember where it was he's from, but that license, they're like, come on, dude. They're like, oh, look what I did. They're like, oh, look at I get it. They're like, yeah, I get it. They're like, oh, here's my actual idea. I know, this is the third McLovin tonight, dude. Fuck, I saw Superbad. It was a great movie, but like, but like you got, but we would just like, again, movies irrelevant at the time. Super Troopers.
Great movie. So funny.
And we're like, let's fuck with them like that at the front door when they come with the fake IDs. And then like,
I love it.
And they're like there were times where like, she's like, here's your ID. I'm like, thanks. Pass it over to Matt. Matt like, thanks. Pass it over to the next guy. And then we're like, oh yeah. It's like, oh, you just got to talk to my friend over here. It's like, walks over, talks to my friend. He's like, yeah, thanks. Now you got to talk to this guy. Now you got to talk to this guy. Now you got to talk to this guy. Now you talk to this guy. So you're like the seventh guy I talked to. Oh shit! Did the first six not tell your ID was fake? Oh.
Yeah.
Or like, oh yeah, you know, the 2 pieces ID. Like, okay, first one, oh, this is clearly altered, or this is clearly not you. Oh, not a problem. Okay, perfect. Do you have any other ID? No, this is all I brought. Oh, you didn't bring your wallet? No. Like, well, we're going to pat you down, so we'll know if you got your wallet on you. Yeah, I got my wallet. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you show me your wallet? Like, you don't have to. I won't let you in, though. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, open it quickly again. I saw there was a green top thing. That's a driver's license. And then the face just goes white. They're like, that's my brother's driver's license. Like, oh, then you'll have no problem showing it to me because he's not going to look anything like you. Because if it's your brother, they say, if you're holding your brother for you, he's going to be younger than you and he's not going to look like you. So I just see what your brother looks like. Just curious. Weird. Like what? Your brother looks so much more like you than you do.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, oh.
Busted.
And then just different, like, yeah, Matt and I had like a great rapport going back and forth. Just like,
just fucking with these guys.
Just fucking with the people like that were like, it's like, oh yeah, you're like, oh, trying to come in with fake ID. Like, all right, it's like, got one. It's like, oh, perfect. Let's go into the routine and like just different things of like, okay, well, so what song was #1 on the radio the year you came out? Like, and just they were like, what? And then you're like, what astrological sign are you? And like, oh, okay, and just completely just like let them listen. And you're like, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, cool. You're Scorpio. Okay. And yeah, what was your mother's maiden name? Interesting. Cool. And like just like ask them a bunch of questions. Like, yeah, thanks. Your ID's fake. Have a good night. They're like, what? just toss it in there. Yeah, sorry, dude. Like, yeah, you not even close.
Yeah.
Like, shit. I'm not mad. I had a fun time. Hopefully you had a good time, but this is mine now. I can't give it back to you. Sorry.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah. They're like, oh. And you get them show up like 6 months later, like, thanks for not being a complete dick about it. It sucks you took my fake ID. I'd spent $50 on it, but you know, I'm 19 now. I'm like, perfect. Come on in. I'll give you a free cover for being honest. Oh, really? I'm like, yeah. No hard feelings. That is just doing my job. We all
tried.
Yeah, exactly. I did when I was 17, 18. I tried to get in. Like, no problem. Just come on in. They're like, oh, thanks. There you go. Now you got a story to tell your friends. Like, oh, thanks. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys let me. Oh, this is so good. Like, yeah, for sure. Come on back next week. Like, hey, you're the guy I fucked with a while ago. Come back in. You come in the VIP line. You pay cover tonight, but you don't have to wait in line. Oh, thanks. Yeah. It was just so much fun. Like, just bantering, building the rapport.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's all about like, you know, people always say like, oh, working at a bouncer at a nightclub. Like, well, first off, I worked at the front door, so it's not kicking people out. Mm-hmm. It's keeping people out.
Yeah.
Not kicking them out, but it's all about just trying to like have fun with it and make it like a memorable experience. It was actually like, I remember like working in a nightclub and getting my first sales job, and they're like, so you work at a nightclub, you don't have sales experience. I'm like, I sort of do.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm
negotiating all day long.
Negotiating, like people want this, people want that. I'm trying to make it seem like it's a great idea. I'm trying to hype it up. I'm trying to increase the atmosphere. I'm making it fun, making it great. They're like, okay, I can see what that is. Yeah. having a good time, like making sure that they set the experience off good, having a good time coming to the club, and they're going to go in. They're like, oh man, the guy was hilarious at the front door. We had a good time. Like, perfect.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, did you get out of that job basically unscathed? Were there any times that you got hurt?
I have thrown punches twice.
Right.
So
there
were definitely times that were fights, but fights all involved in like grabbing someone, putting them in a hold or twisting their arm up or something like that. Getting them out of there, like immobilizing them, but not beating them.
Yeah.
There were 2 times ever that I had to throw
actually
punches.
punch someone. Yeah.
One, we'd kicked a guy out for doing cocaine in the bathroom. And then he's like, oh, my coat's inside. And they're like, sent like 6 people to go get his coat and did all this different things. Like, did everything in the world to try and help him out. And he's like, sorry, dude, you don't have a coat check ticket. Your coat check girl doesn't recognize you. The other coat check girl doesn't recognize you. I brought them to the front door to did everything I could to help a guy that actually been kicked out of the bar. And then his buddy just out of nowhere sucker punched me. Oh. I'm talking to the guy, and all of a sudden, poof, right in the side of the head. And I'm like, what the fuck? And the guy just looked at shocked. He's like,
shocked.
He didn't go down.
Yeah.
Oh God. That was the one time. And the other time was a legitimate actual gang fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was actually people that were involved in organized crime, and there was a big fight of them out in the street. And I was like, caught in the middle of it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to get involved in this, but I'm also not going to let myself get hit. Mm-hmm. So that was, just a couple people came at me and I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to let that happen. And the police came and
yeah. So that was a couple of rival gangs in Victoria?
Sort of, yeah. It was, I'm not sure if it was rival gangs or infighting in the same one, but it was definitely oh yeah, these people are affiliated with groups.
Yeah, they're troublemakers. They're doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, okay, that's on the scarier side, but
yes.
Again,
we're still in a pretty small town, but there is some of that gang type element here. Not a lot, but
and the most important thing in any situation like that is just don't be a piece of shit. Don't be a dick. They're like, we want to fight these people, and I'm like, that's fine. You're not fighting me though. And a couple guys that did, I'm like, nuh-uh. And they're like, okay, we respect that. Yeah. We're going to do our thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to start sucker punching you guys from behind and trying to break up this fight, in a shitty way. But I want to make sure that if someone falls down that okay, get off of that guy. Don't start curb stomping a guy and things like that. And then the police came, and so they're like, okay, we get it. You were making sure people didn't get seriously hurt. Hey, you guys want to take it out on each other, fucking fight. That's fine. But I'm not going to let
someone
get yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't have that on my hands. They're like, okay. And then a couple after, hey man, you're cool. Thank you. We know you didn't call the cops. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Someone else did. But.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's, but the same thing is some very bad people I've met before, and they can be very respectful about it. They're like, you know what? I respect you. You're respecting me. You're not immediately judging me. I won't immediately judge you. Thank you very much. Tip the host, tip the bartender, had a couple drinks, left. That's all. That was it. I'm glad that didn't go differently.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, this is way back in the day, before Bar Watch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was young. I'm like, oh, I know who that guy is. Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they're he's like, no problem. I'm not here to cause any trouble. Just want to bring my girlfriend here. We're just having a drink. I'm like, okay. And they go, way go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'm not going to ask anything.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy though sometimes, eh?
Oh yeah. It's also just thinking of when I was 19, 20, how young and naive I was about some of the stuff, and I'm like, damn, that's that was kind of a sketchy situation had I thought about that.
Right.
Oof. But
yeah, letting a guy into the club that's known to assault people on the regular, it's probably not a great idea.
Yeah, exactly.
In hindsight.
Yeah.
But then you try and stop him at the door. Next thing you know, maybe you're
the guy getting assaulted or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's all sorts of oh shit, wow moments But there's even just like dumb stuff like when you're like 16, you're like, oh, jump off those rocks and see how you can get in there. Like, and you look at it, you're like, that water at the bottom was only like that deep. Like,
I know.
You're like, whoa, shit! Like, I can't believe, like,
yeah, can't believe I didn't drown.
Yeah, like so many things that you look back on, like, you're like, geez, like, how did that go well for me?
Yeah. I used to have an algebra teacher and said, what's easy? Basically, when you're a teenager, you're indestructible. Nothing will kill a teenager. But as soon as you turn 20,
all of a sudden it catches
you
up.
do the same thing and you're dead for sure. You're not going to make it.
Oh, man. I remember in high school seeing someone doing donuts in a car in a parking lot. And there was someone deciding, like, they were holding onto the roof of the car trying to see if they could stay on.
Oh, great.
They're doing donuts in a dirt parking lot. And I'm like you like show up one of those high school parties, like, oh shit, it's like this, is it? And then all of a sudden the guy comes like flying off the car, like rolls off. You're like, oh my god, I just watched a guy die. And the guy gets up. Woo! You're like, oh, okay, he's all right. He's like, all right, give me a drink. Shotguns it. You're like, all right, cool. Meanwhile, like now in my 30s, like almost 40, like sleep bad on my neck and I can't fucking move for a week.
I know, right?
Fuck.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's when you're a teenager, you're just indestructible. Like, I don't understand. Like, teenagers bounce, adults hit the ground like a sack of fucking bricks. Done.
You're at Best Buy right now, right? Yeah. Langford, right?
Yeah.
Why is that store so shitty?
What are you talking about? My store's the best.
It's a piece of shit.
What do you mean?
And you know it is.
No way.
It's fucking trashy.
How?
It's not stocked well. It's barren. It needs more decoration and it needs more products.
When was the last time
And every
you were
time
in
I
my
go
store?
there, you're never fucking there.
Well, that's okay.
A month ago, 2 months ago.
You should see the amount of stock we have right now.
Really?
It's stupid.
Okay, because I go there and then I always go to the other one to check it out because it's got so much more better stuff.
They have more different things.
Do they?
Things we have, we like during like I was giving the tour to one of our new guys, and I like see all these shelves around the store, the outside of the store. And he's like, yeah, those were empty 3 months ago, and they're now like stacked like super high. We got like stacks of product. Because we're now the store that, like, if you buy something online, it ships out of our store.
Oh, sweet.
So we're like an online warehouse. So we've got so much stock.
So hopefully the price of that receiver comes down so I can finish my system.
Well, there you go. Come see me. We'll figure it out.
It's too fucking much. It's gone up like $700.
There you go. We'll figure it out. We'll get you a good price beat or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to bring you in an ad from 7 months ago.
Yeah,
Can you match that?
It's just like, you wrote this in crayon. Like, it's just like, yeah, there we go.
I told Maddie I was going to tell you that your store sucks.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah.
No, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was upset when you left the Uptown location.
I will fully admit the Uptown location is a way nicer store.
Yeah.
It's
because that's the store I used to go to. I could always see you there. Now you're not there. Now I drive out to Langford to see you and you're never fucking around.
Thursday, Fridays. Those are my days off.
Okay, I gotta text you ahead. Okay.
Man, the number of people though that text me on Thursday, Friday, I'm like, hey, I'm in your store. Where are you? I'm like, it's my days off.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, I'm sorry guys. Like, I'll help you out, but like, fuck, I'm not working.
I know, that's what I love too. When I'm not at work and someone texts me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you have this cigar? I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I have to call the store, and then if I forget to ask the price, I'm like, yeah, we got it, or how much is it? I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
Damn it.
Yeah. I'm just trying to take a day off. Damn you.
Yeah. Can't a man relax in peace?
I know, but I should be thankful that they're texting me at all, and
instead
of just fucking going somewhere else.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're like, okay, I'm super thankful for your business. Like, don't get me wrong, I really, really appreciate it. You guys coming to me. Just like, I really wish you're coming to me in a more convenient way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like Blaine that works for me. I'm like, don't bug me on Friday mornings.
Yeah.
I smoke a cigar on Friday mornings with my buds.
Yeah.
Not recently, but from the time we open till noon, fucking leave me alone.
Yeah.
10:15. We ran out of this, or we're out of printer paper. I'm like, literally, we're out of thermal paper at both stores. We need to get some right away. Have a great cigar.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
Yeah, you know what?
It's 10:15. You fucking asshole.
You know what makes a cigar smoking a cigar great? Stress.
I know.
Oh fuck! What are they gonna do?
Yeah, I'm not gonna leave now. So so now I gotta think about not having whatever.
Yeah.
Thermal paper for.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, there's always some around somewhere.
Of course, yeah. You're like, did you check this drawer? No, that's not where the thermal paper's normally kept. Well, that's because there's some.
I know, right? Anyway, I know it's hilarious, but God bless them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they're trying. That's the important part.
Yeah, they're great. My staff's great. I'm pretty lucky. I got pretty good staff. So
there you go.
Text me at 10:15 on my cigar morning. Oh, whatever.
There we go.
It could be worse.
Yeah,
could not show up for work.
Yeah, or they could not give a shit. They could be out of thermal paper and just be like, meh,
cash only.
Yeah. So you know that's all right. It's good that they're trying.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're great.
Look on that bright side, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know. If I didn't look on the bright side, I would be hanging from one of those oaks outside.
Right.
It's fucking pretty rotten. Pretty rotten sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm supposed to do, though. I'm supposed to take the shit.
Yeah.
And not have to, so that the staff don't have to deal with all that
big time
bullshit.
And that's like a big thing in terms of like management. Like, because I've been in management for a while, and like I remember, like I think about like the best relationship I've had with my staff. And I remember I was like, on the day I started, I was like, okay, my job is to make sure that you guys have whatever you need to do best.
Yeah.
I just told them, like, you guys are like the sales guys. You know how to do this stuff better than I would.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hiring you because you're the best, so you're going to do that. What do you need from me to make you do better?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, fuck yeah, our boss has got our back. And like, it's like, okay, well, like, what, like, customer complaining, like, okay, I'll deal with that. Like, this and that, and like doing those kind of things. Like,
yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, anytime anyone from Health Canada shows up, I deal with that.
Yeah.
Bill paying, I deal with that. You know, taxes, government bullshit. That's the unfun stuff. I'm dealing with all that. We're a small company, right? So it,
of course,
like when you're the sales guy, you're fielding every call, every inspector, everything.
Yeah.
So I try and, you know, if those guys come in when I'm not there, you tell them they got to talk to me, and you don't have to worry about anything. You just keep doing what you're doing. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's nasty. They're always busting my ass about something, those fuckers. Just had a call this morning, just before you arrived. Actually, they have my personal cell. Isn't that fucking nice?
That's convenient.
I know.
24/7.
Fucking Winnipeg. Who's coming? Hello? Hi, I'm Mr. Shaletta. This is blah, blah, blah from Health Canada. Did you receive my email on that? I was like, oh, fuck. I don't know if I did. I said, could you please resend it? I don't know where it is. Like,
yeah.
I'll deal with it. I promise.
I didn't even think of that, something that you guys got to deal with, but I guess you do, because there's like all the warnings and all the stuff that you're supposed to
tobacco's
poke.
Huge.
And you gotta like, oh, is it behind a barrier? Or like, is your door blacked out? Do you have curtains on the windows? And
all that stuff. Yeah, we have a local CRD VHA inspector.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we have a someone from Health Canada.
Yeah.
Plus, I have someone from Provincial Tobacco Tax.
Oh yeah.
I only deal with them on the phone because I'm small enough that I don't need to deal with them. Plus, then there are people from the federal level.
Oh yeah.
As well. Yeah, for taxation and yes, and I have a new health person that's dealing with a specific product that we sell.
Yeah.
So there's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few. Super annoying.
Yeah.
I even occasionally get someone from Health Canada inspecting my lighters.
Your lighters?
Make sure that they're all CSA approved and blah, blah, blah and all that, yeah. And then if they're not, they confiscate the product and shit like that.
Jeez,
it's like,
really?
I know, it's quite a thing.
The old exploding lighter trick, right?
Yeah. He was a nice, I mean, they're all nice enough people. It's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Just let me sell some shit and try and make a living. Like, fuck. You know? And the one guy from Health Canada, this was years ago now, and he was like, oh, you know, getting a bunch of lighters, and he's confiscating them all. He's really, if you wanted to keep a couple for yourself, you can keep a couple. And I'm like,
he
okay.
told you that?
Yeah, so I kept a couple. But
I want a souvenir for my confiscation. But this is put it in a trophy case.
Yeah,
like, this is for the time that I had all my shit taken.
But then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, motherfucker, you said those weren't safe for the consumer. Now you're letting me have a couple? Like, it's okay if I blow myself
going to sabotage. Like, maybe if we let this guy die from his lighter, then we won't have any problem anymore. Double solved.
I know, right? So he's like, yeah, since we've been doing our work and we've been confiscating these lighters and getting them sent back, because, you just take one of these and you drop it, it could just explode. I'm like, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
I can throw that as hard as I want against a brick wall and it won't explode. Like, there's just no exploding happening.
That's funny.
Anyway, they got to do their job and make their money and justify the existence. But,
of course.
Yeah.
They got things they got to do. They got quotas they got to hit.
Yeah, that's right. Do you guys get those kinds of people around?
We don't have many in terms of inspectors. Not really, no. Like at Home Depot, we had like WorkSafe people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had one time where someone got like an electric shock from touching like they were trying to unplug a extension cord and they reached around and grabbed both contacts.
Oh.
But then the person filled out the health report, wrote electrocution, not electroshock.
Oh.
And there's a big difference.
Sure.
Electrocution means death by electric shock. Electric shock just means he got a
yeah.
And so WorkSafe PC was just like, oh, someone died at Home Depot. Well, let's go swarm them for the next 6 months.
Fuck.
And they were like, no one died. Shit. That's how I learned the difference between electrocution and electric shock.
Interesting.
Yeah. So fill out those forms right, because that'll make a big difference.
Yeah. WCB pretty much leaves me alone. That's...
Yeah.
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 We're pretty safe.
Yeah.
I pay my things and keep the staff safe and don't wear flip-flops to work.
Yeah.
Because they do.
Yeah.
And I gotta send them home. Got some fucking shoes on. I know.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And we're back.
And we're back.
Yeah, that's the beauty of not being live.
Yeah.
And you just edit this, like, just take a little chop, boom, we're good.
Yeah.
So what else are we going to talk about? I'm thinking like politics a little bit because I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't you guys have these kinds of discussions, you and your friend group, all the time about shit that's going on in the world? And
yeah, oh yeah, we do. Me, Matt, and Cole will have our own differing opinions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Where do you sit on the spectrum, if you will?
I would definitely say I'm a centrist. Like I do not. Well, first off, in talking about identity politics and that kind of stuff, I refuse to just say that like, I am A, B, or C or whatever, because it's too much all-encompassing.
Yeah,
I might believe in this, but I believe in that, and that kind of stuff. I'm also a very firm believer of what I say today may not hold true tomorrow. So this might be the right thing for now, but it's not the right thing for forever. So. I for politically, I guess would call it left leaning, by today's standards. I've been right leaning in the past by the standards of that time and things like that. But just looking at the way things evolve, like what I say would probably most align on a little bit on the left side. But it's very, very case by case, specific. Most important things to me is it kind of would be human rights, making sure that people are not being oppressed in any way. So I was just if something is like ultimately detrimental to someone, like then I'm against that. And I think a lot of what we're doing right now is very good. I'd like we're a very privileged society. Like we've got a lot of things that are going so well for us. I mean, if we look at the way our society is compared to so many other places in the world, we're doing fucking awesome. And we're sitting there trying to nitpick a lot of things to say like, oh yeah, this is really this could be better. This could be better compared to other places being like, oh my God, like we better change this or I'll die tomorrow. So I think we're in a good shape that way. I definitely, don't get me wrong, I think there's definitely a lot of room to go and there's a lot of things that we're glaringly missing. But, for the most part, I'm, kind of it's the roundabout way of saying kind of where I lie. A lot of the things that I will definitely, counter argue are going to be on, I think the biggest thing that we debate as our friends group is usually about where taxation or regulation falls in. A lot of people saying, like the tax the wealthy and things like that. And there's a lot of people, and, et cetera and so forth. It's tough.
Saying tax the wealthy is one thing, but what does that mean? It means so many different things to so many different people.
Well,
what is wealthy?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making 50 grand a year, you're wealthy. 100 grand, a million.
Yeah.
And what's tax look like? Taxing the wealthy. It's not like the wealthy don't pay any freaking tax. What is it? If it's 20% now, should it be 30, 40, 50, 80%? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? It means so many different things to so many different people.
Well, and
then once you tax them, what do you do with that money?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think are important. So I know there's a lot of people talking about the tax in the States. They're like, oh, people over 400,000 are going to get their taxes increased. It's like, yeah. Who makes over 400,000? First off, do you? Well, I mean, I could. And there's that whole like, temporarily out of your luck millionaires. They're like, well, I'm going to be making 400 grand a year. I'm like, it's very difficult to do that. Very few people get to make that amount of money. So to say that you're going to do that, and the one that you're being taxed at. The other thing too is that people don't fucking know that it's like if you're going to say tax over 400,000, any tax $399,000 and below, you're getting taxed less
at that whatever the
rate is. Whatever rate is, and then it's just anything like the 1,000. If you made 401,000, that means $1,000 of your income is getting charged the extra tax,
whatever it is. Yeah,
you're like, oh man, like that's no.
Well, that's not the way it works in Canada. The first whatever it is, I don't even know what the number is anymore.
I don't even know.
8 grand, 12 grand, no tax.
I think it's like 16 or more.
What's our personal exemption now?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either. But yeah, it's a step system.
Yeah, exactly. And so the first amount, zero tax. And if you actually look at so if you make $50,000, your tax rate might be this, but the actual amount that you got taxed on the total amount of your income is way less than that.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that are like, oh my God, I mean, I can't make 400 grand. Like, well, you probably won't. But if you do, it's going to be, so there's a lot of people like really upset about that. But on one half, it's like, yeah, if you're making that much, like, you're making 6 times what the average person makes, for starters. So, yeah, maybe contribute a little bit more. But at the same point, though, I definitely do think that we need to make sure that what we're doing with the money is a lot better. Mm-hmm. Like, so the solution, because it's, when you do your household expenses, you sit down and you're like, okay, husband and wife sit down and they say, okay, we need to look at our bills and what are we doing? We don't have enough money right now. The result isn't always we better make more money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. But then we realize, like, oh, you know what? That we're actually spending $50 a month on this and $20 a month on that. And, like, these grand total of expenses are like $400 a month. Well, like, we have, like, 6 streaming services subscriptions.
Yeah.
Take our top 2. Cut those off.
Yeah.
Do we need to have the HBO and the Showtime and all the,
Yeah.
No, we don't need to have all that.
Yeah.
Do we need to be...
Do you need 2 cars, or can you get away with 1, or whatever the case may be? You balance the budget within your means. You don't constantly increase the pie of money.
So, yeah. So, again, the truth always lies somewhere in between. So, let's say, like, hey, we want to have more things. Perfect. Okay, let's have more things. Okay, pay me more money. Well, maybe we can find a way that we're doing things a little bit more efficiently. And... it could even come along the lines of looking at saying that, like, hey, how much are we spending on, say, like a work dinner? Oh, well, that's $20,000 to throw one of those events. How about maybe don't?
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to be having a lavish $20,000 dinner at all for work. Okay, now we can spend that on something else, or any number of those things. So, I mean. And the other thing too is you look at it's like, oh, politicians are already paid too much. Like, to be honest, they're not paid enough, because they're taking, if you're a politician, you're saying like, okay, well, I only make you could say I make $90,000 a year as a politician or something. Sure, if you're making that much, it's a reasonable income. That's pretty good, better than a lot of people are making. Mm-hmm. It affords you a lot of things to do a lot of stuff, but it doesn't afford you everything. You're not going to be, if you live in Victoria, you're not going to get that 3-bedroom house just on that income. You got to have a partner having that income and stuff like that. That's not enough to raise one family in a good part of town. So then they say, okay, well, then you can take a look and say, well, then you get your lobbyists and promises of this out after you come in office, and that's where your political corruption comes in mind. So it's like, okay, well, then we probably should pay them more. And then remove the ability for someone to pay them to
for policy
to grease their palms to do something else.
Yeah.
And the same thing is like when we worked at the nightclub, we weren't allowed to take tips to let someone in sooner. It's because our boss said, I pay you enough. You get paid more than any of the other doormen in the city, so you shouldn't be taking tips because I don't want to see that kind of preferential treatment.
Yeah.
Whatever it may sit, but like, yeah, you should look at it and say like, this is good. This is a good thing. This is a privilege for me to be here. Like as a politician, I've got a great job. I made to make sure that I do the best job possible as opposed to do a shitty job and then cash out early. And now I'm going to have a pharmaceutical company is going to pay my way the rest of the way because I helped push a bill forward in my second year of office.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of shit like that.
Yeah. Some people disagree with me. But if you...
What?
I know.
Someone has a different political opinion than
almost everybody. Seems like it. But when it comes to wealth and taxation, people are complaining a little too much. Mm-hmm. I feel about the rich. Because somehow taxing the rich is going to better their position.
Yep.
I know that's not true. Taxing the rich might better something, but it won't better their position necessarily. I've read every freaking book on business and wealth and accumulating wealth and how money works, and I've read a lot of them. Not all of them, but I've read a lot of them. If you take in society, if you take the rich and the poor, you take all the wealth and you put it in a pot and you distribute it out equally between all those people in a society, it won't be very long before the rich have all their money back and the poor are once again poor.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 100%. Not about the money. It's about the mindset.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I have conversations like this with people and they're like, oh, but rent in Victoria is too expensive to get ahead. It's too expensive to invest. It's too expensive to do this. I can't afford to do... It's all about the mindset. I did not build a company on 37 and a half hours a week.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
Yeah.
My dad did not pay for his first home on that amount of time.
Yeah.
So if it's a priority to you, you get a second job.
Yep.
Or a side hustle. You work 4 hours a day or 4 hours a week extra. That's an extra $200. That's your savings.
Yep.
That's your investment. That's your retirement plan. That's whatever you want it to be. Work a night a week, 2 nights, whatever it is. I don't care.
Yeah.
But there's other ways to do it. Victoria's too fucking expensive to live. Yeah, you know what? Duncan's a lot less expensive. Courtenay, Comox, Camel River, Port Alberni. They're all a lot less expensive places.
Big time. I'm
not opposed to moving if I needed to.
Yep.
It just irks me sometimes when it's always an excuse why you can't do something.
The excuses
and then you blame it on the rich. It's not the fucking rich's fault.
No.
Like Bezos that owns Amazon, if you're an employee of Amazon, don't begrudge Jeff Bezos. As long as he's not beating you or treating you badly, and I don't know anything about Amazon, let me just preface this in that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they pay their employees. I don't know what their benefit package is. I don't know what their hours are like.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that company. But let's just say for argument's sakes, that you go to that job and it fulfills you and it's a good place to work and everyone has a good time and no one's abused and no one's taken advantage of and you're paid a fair wage and Bezos is the richest man in the world. Don't begrudge him for being the richest man in the world and you're only making $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Don't begrudge him for that.
So
he's there providing something.
But okay, so two things.
Okay, bring it, mofo.
Well, no, because one thing that you're talking about, which is really funny, because there's actually, and the thing that you're talking about is based on firsthand experience, is almost a sort of pro-socialism argument, based on exactly what you're saying.
Okay, what?
So when we were in Cuba,
yes,
we talked with a lot of the locals there. We went on a tour, took a tour guide, and they're like, just take us to something that's not going to be so touristy. And
sure.
Talk with some of the people, and they're like, yeah, it's actually pretty cool. We like this. We like this system of government. And they're like, what? Like socialism, where you can, socialism bordering on communism. And they're like, what's this? And they're like, yeah, because we work this much amount a day for the state. We do this. We get provided place to, we get our basic needs are provided.
Yes.
We have post-secondary provided, all this kind of stuff. We're very well educated, blah, blah, blah. Then we have 3 days off a week.
Yeah. They don't work very long in Cuba.
Well, yeah, they work 4 days a week.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, the opportunistic ones, the smart ones, work 2 or 3 of those days. And anything that they make during those days, they get to keep. They work on resorts. They work as tour guides. They work as this, blah, 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 blah. So everyone is sitting there.
I know, it's a very interesting system. It's a combination of socialism and capitalism there, isn't it?
Yeah. And so, but you're, a lot of things.
But it's not equal in a sense, because the people that can take advantage of those systems live in the tourist centers. So if you live in a farming community on the, central Cuba where there aren't any tourists, you're not going to have that opportunity. Or I guess you could. You could always move.
Well, you could always move. But the other thing, too, is we went to I think it was sugarcane. It was basically a plantation. Mm-hmm. And like one of the tours, they're like, okay, brought a bunch of people to this farm. They're like, all right, we're chop some sugarcane. Watch. So we're going to put it in some, press out
juice
the sugar,
juice
it, and put some rum in it, and try some pineapple,
so
and try
sweet,
sucking it. It was delicious. But it was like, cool. Like, but it was a pretty cool experience. But it was like 2 hours away from the resort.
Right.
So it's, it's pretty far away. And so, again, you want to be opportunistic. You say, hey, you know what? Tell you what, I'm going to make friends with the tour guide. I'm going to tell them, bring some people over here. Yeah. And I'm going to do...
I'll cut them in and we'll do something.
So, again, there's always the opportunity to make money for those who hustle. Mm-hmm. So, kind of like the anti-socialism arguments in a lot of cases don't hold true, because exactly what you said, you could take all the wealth and completely redistribute it, put everyone at flat, but the people willing to work harder will always rise up, and the people who don't want to will always slope down.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is that, okay, so how low is your floor? Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, okay.
So, and we say, yeah, okay, we'll redistribute it. Do we take everything always flat every year and then people can regain some? Or do we say, you know what? I don't want anyone sleeping on the street. No one should live in a house. No one should live in a tent. Everyone should live in a house. No one should have to wonder where their meals are coming. Are you going to have a steak dinner every night with a side of lobster tail?
No.
No. Do you make sure that you have a lifetime supply of craft dinner? Sure. Or whatever it is. Yeah. So you say that, maybe that's what we're going to say. Or maybe we say, you know what, that's not very healthy. It would actually be less taxing on the medical system. Instead of having everyone eating macaroni and cheese, that we're going to make sure that they have fresh vegetables and some chicken. Or,
I get, yeah.
So
I'm with you.
So you're looking at those different things and saying like, okay, but wherever you're going to determine a baseline.
Yeah, you could do that without taxing the rich to oblivion.
No, exactly.
It does. You know what? I bet you we have enough now to do it if we just use it more efficiently.
And we use it efficiently, and we figure out what it is.
Homelessness shouldn't be a city issue. It should be a provincial or federal issue, because people within the country are mobile, and if if we need 1,000 beds or 100 beds or whatever the number is in Victoria, and we provide those beds, it's like a vacuum. If we have 50 free beds, they're not going to be free very long. People from other places will come and fill those beds.
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, I could be wrong, but I think.
This is already reported problem. Is it saying that
the communities that will do something will have those people move in. The communities that don't will have them move out.
Yeah,
that's why I think it needs to be provincial.
With some of the hotels and stuff that they're saying, okay, we got 130 beds and we know that we have 120 homeless. Now all of a sudden we got 180 homeless.
Yeah.
What do we do? Where did they come from?
Yeah.
So there's definitely like a portion of that.
And I know that they've done the survey where they ask homeless people, how long have you been here? And I don't forget the number is 84% have been in Victoria for over a year.
Yeah.
And that's fine and everything. So most of them have been in Victoria for over a year, but you can sneeze and a year's over.
Oh yeah.
COVID's been here for almost a year. So that doesn't really tell me anything. Yeah. So if it's 80% have been here for more than a year, how many have been here for more than 2? How many were born here?
Yeah.
Or why would you come to Victoria at all if you were struggling? You're going to come into the most expensive real estate market in the fucking nation? Because I'm homeless, so I'm going to go where it's the most expensive?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you shouldn't.
No, exactly.
But they are.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. Is it a matter of I'm going to move where I know that I can get support, or I'm going to move where I know I'm not going to die freezing to death in a storefront?
Sure.
Like when I went to visit my sister in Grand Prairie, I looked and I was like, "There's no homeless people here."
Yeah, well, no shit.
Yeah, because at nighttime, it's going to be so cold that you will die, literally.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so I'm not going to die, so I'm going to go one of the few places in Canada that's
Victoria,
warm enough,
Vancouver, wherever,
12 months a year. But the other, the again, counter arguments, of course, is that you look at it and you say, I had this conversation with Cole. He didn't like the fact that the building next to him got purchased for homeless people to stay in downtown, where they were essentially dismantling the first tent city. Now, granted, I'm looking at where that neighborhood was and what it is now. It's awful compared to what it used to be. Like there was like the number of times that they've either said shit to his wife or said shit to him, or like he's a big dude. Like, yeah, it's like I look at that, I'm like, I know where that place is. I'm just not going to walk by there at night because I'm a big dude, but I'm not stab proof.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that stuff. But again, this is like, well, why would the city spend all this money to buy this building downtown? Like, okay, well, I told them, like, well, okay, how much did they buy the building for? $4 million, $5 million, whatever. Let's say it's $5 million. Could be more. I literally don't know how much it is, but it's in the millions.
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 or whatever.
But if we look at how much the population of like Greater Victoria is, okay, it's it's one of the bigger cities in Canada, second largest. One of the largest in BC. And, and if we taxed everyone, if someone said to me, hey, will you give me $10?
Yeah, it's like $5, $10.
It's like, give me $10 and we're going to buy a building and we're going to fix homelessness. If they said, I'm like, here's 20.
Yeah.
Go do it. Like if that's actually what it was like. And I was like, yeah, like it's way less than that because it's going to be over a period of time and kind of thing. So it's like the grand cost to taxpayers is a couple dollars. In like on looks and things, like, yeah, so would you pay a couple dollars to fix the tent city there? Well, yeah, I'd pay a couple dollars for sure. I'll give you $2, no problem. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's
no, socially I'm quite left.
Yeah.
I am. I'm 100%. I'm 100% agreement with you with the homeless situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think to fix homelessness we need to burn down the country, burn down the systems we have.
No, I don't
know what I mean.
So
I don't think that's going to fix it. Also, how do we define homelessness? A person doesn't have a home. That's one way. But what about the people on the street that have left their homes because of drug addiction, mental illness, PTSD? Those are different issues, right? Like do you house those? You don't house all people the same.
No. So
it's a bit of a complicated problem. You know what I mean? You don't just keep buying hotels and putting these people in it because that's not enough.
That's a short-term solution.
That is very short-term. These people need mental health.
Yeah, and
not everyone's homeless because they can't afford a place to live. I think, right?
No,
it's different. There's different reasons.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like I remember in university, we outside of Legends. Back when it was outside of Strass, there was these couple homeless guys, and one night we decided that we were going to party with them.
Nice.
Yeah. And there was the Sandman and Strathcona Dave. Those were the two guys.
Okay.
Strathcona Dave told us the story of how he used to be like a teacher, and he had like a great education and all this kind of stuff, and he's like he'd done all these things. That was like I was telling him about my truck, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you got this model truck." I'm like, "It's got these clutch issues," and they're like, "How do you know this? You're really intelligent." And he was like, talking to us, and then Sandman was less educated, and it was basically just like Sandman had actually he had moved from a reserve to downtown because he didn't want to be on like do anything like that. We're like, okay, cool. So two very different guys. And we remember going back there like 8 months later and like, hey, we're Sandman, and like Sandman and Strathcona Dave. Like, oh, well, Sandman is like kind of moved on. He's a different part of town now. He's not hanging out in front of here. And Strathcona Dave is actually not homeless anymore.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, interesting. And like look at the two very different stories, and they both had gone through some very hardship. Each one of them had one thing in common, was that there was a point in their life where something major happened that caused them to be homeless.
Okay.
One of them was like an investment gone wrong, and kind of like things like basically took a chance in business and just
and it lost it. Yeah.
Lost it, and he was done. He was otherwise would have been an otherwise successful guy. The other guy had a lot rougher upbringing and tougher, and decided he's going to try and change something. Didn't work for him, and came from kind of a bad situation.
Sure.
But they both had kind of the option. But one guy was resourceful and came out of there. It's like, okay, everyone has a moment that makes them homeless. They're not necessarily there's not necessarily like looking at it and saying like, I choose I'm going to be homeless.
No, because I agree. Because no one's going to choose to be homeless.
Yeah, and there are definitely people that are like 16-year-olds, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to fuck it. I'm going to sort of choose to be homeless. I'm going to leave home, and it would be better off doing this. But those could be people from abusive households or from different things like that.
Yeah.
There's very, very few people that say, you know what, I'd actually rather sleep on the street than in the bed. That's just me.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't think that just throwing more money at it fixes the problem. Because in any situation, like if you look at, if you got your car, you've had to do your brakes 3 times in a year, you're going to be like, damn.
Something wrong with the system.
There's something wrong. Why do I have to keep doing my brakes 3 times?
Yeah.
There's something causing this problem to happen. Yeah. I'm not going to go do my brakes a 4th or a 5th or a 6th time without thinking like, why? What's causing
what is going
this to
on?
fuck
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
Why is this fucking up? And we're looking at the homeless person problem essentially being the brakes and saying like, hey, we've buy another hotel. Okay, well that one's now full. Yeah. Buy another hotel. That one's full. Versus saying, okay, why?
Why do they keep filling up? Why do we keep...
What are the things that are going into these
why
things?
are there more and more homeless all the time? That's why I'm thinking it's got to be a provincially funded issue. If homeless people, just like all people, are mobile,
yeah,
and are going to choose the most comfortable place for them to be homeless. Well, I mean, I kind of sounds shitty of me to say that, but I mean, it's more comfortable to be homeless in Victoria than it is in Kamloops, let's just say.
Calgary or anything like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, Montreal or Northern Ontario. It's got to be...
I'd hate to be homeless in Nunavut.
Yeah. Right.
Like, yeah, so there's a lot of things like that. But we need to take a look at kind of what's the root cause. So does that mean that we need to teach budgeting and fiscal responsibility in elementary school? Or middle school?
That's kind of a different topic, but 100%.
But this is the thing. We
need to teach how money works.
Yeah. How far back do we actually have to go look at the root cause? Do we have to teach people in middle school and high school conflict resolution so that with them and their parents and then them and their own children further on, when they have a different opinion, it doesn't involve someone getting kicked out of the house?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to take a look at, talking about drugs, whether it be decriminalized, whether it be legalized, whether it be whatever the education on that, and saying, instead of making hard drugs as being like no one's allowed to do it, and then someone's like, well, I'm going to try it because it's bad. And they're like, look, I didn't die, it's fine. They're lying to me, and now they think that society lied to them because the first time they tried heroin they didn't die. Maybe they will on the 6th time. Maybe they won't ever. Yeah. But now they've 10 times in, now they're actually got a dependency and an addiction. So again, better education on all those things.
Sure. I mean, I would agree with that. That'd be good. That'd be easy to implement too.
Yeah.
That would not be hard to teach finance.
Yeah.
Like personal financial bookkeeping or records or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Just take out square dancing. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. There's so much fill in school anyway.
Well, but
yeah, that would be a good conflict resolution. Would be a great thing to make as a mandatory credit in school. And then, teach kids about drugs in a way that doesn't make them want to do drugs.
But also makes them realize the risk. Talking about, just being able to handle differences of opinion, able to constantly learn things, how to think critical thinking.
Decriminalizing a bunch of drugs would be a good idea also.
Yeah, I think that there's...
But then I think the main thing is we need treatment for these guys. Like, for people that are addicted to drugs, and that's the root cause of their homelessness.
Yep.
I don't know if if sometimes you go too far and you just can't come back.
Big time.
Yeah, but if you can come back, it would be great to give these guys a real chance at coming back.
And again, I can't speak from any situation of hard drugs.
No.
Like, marijuana is the farthest I've ever gone.
Yeah.
And which is fucking nothing.
Yeah.
It's legal now. It's literally not even on the list anymore. Yeah. But you look at
do you know you could have been jailed for that in the United States and done a lot of fucking time?
I know, right?
Isn't that crazy?
That's fucking nuts. That's some of the things.
That's fucking nuts.
But you look at something like, for example, going out for night drinking with the boys. have 4 beers. Okay, then you get that whatever, maybe 4, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 10, whatever it is. But you have that one too many beer.
Yeah.
And that's now your pivotal point. And instead of being like, we're having a good time, I'm now on the downward spiral of getting fucking smashed.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yep, this is the one that put me over the edge, and now it's blackout territory. And like, we've all been there. It's...
Well, you speak for yourself, Shane.
A lot of us have been there. Very many of us have been here. I do know that there is a lot of people out there who abstain from any alcohol whatsoever. However, those who do on a regular basis may understand that there's a potential that you could have a slippery slope, and you realize that...
Okay, I've heard these things.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
Someone told me that that's a thing. Yeah. But...
One too many,
whatever it is, one too many. And whether, that's heroin. Maybe that's 2 times. Maybe it's 12 times. Cocaine. Maybe it's twice. Maybe it's
whatever.
100th
the 100th time. Yeah.
There are some people that can go through life and they could do heroin like 60 times and just continue, and then just stop full. Like, that's fine. I don't actually feel the need to do it anymore.
Sure.
There are people out there that, in theory, could be capable of that. Probably not 60 times in a row, but
I know what you mean. Yeah, we're just hypothetical.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing. And these kind of people have got the, it's good. And then there's kind of people that, you have that, and all of a sudden you hit that tipping point, and it's a slippery slope, and you're no longer in control. Because, working in a nightclub, the number of people I've had to be like, you're cut off. You're no longer in control. You are now beyond, like, you are too intoxicated. You don't know what's going on. You don't have any way of saying, yep, this is my reasonable time. I need to stop. I need to retain. I need to make conscious decisions. I'm sorry, you've lost control. You kind of intervene, and life goes on. But with a lot of these people with these drug addictions, it's not as harmless as just having, like, the bouncer of the nightclub say, no more drinks for you, sir. It's a matter of, this could be life or death. This could be putting yourself into strenuous situations, prostitution, et cetera, to try and feed these habits. And you're now big time over your head. So being able to have kind of some of the support situations where... that's
a great argument for legalization.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to get into prostitution or stealing or, other activities to get your drugs, get the money to get your drugs.
Yep. And there's, of course, the worry is that people are going to take a look at these things being super hard street drugs, super hard drugs, and say, oh, well, if anyone can just go in there and buy heroin and do it.
Yeah, they can make some kind of a hybrid system where you don't have to pay for them, but it would be like on a prescription type basis or something. You need to see someone before discuss the risks of these things.
But the biggest, the biggest argument, pro legalization of anything is that, like, if you see people, the stereotypical, like, someone doing heroin, they're like, in a street corner, like, and like, I'm doing this kind of stuff, and then they're high, and they're like, eyes roll back, and then the rain comes down, and then they get hypothermia, and then someone beats them up and takes their stuff. Whereas if they really so chose to do that, they could do it in somewhere warm, sheltered, and not be robbed while it happened.
Yeah.
It's still not the right thing to do, but people also do just as destructive things to their body,
Well, if we say it's not the right thing to do, to flip it on you, that's our morality.
Yep.
Right? If it's a morality issue, what's right and wrong when it comes to morality?
Yep.
What's right for us might not be right for someone else in another situation, I guess.
I don't know if I'd call it amoral. I say because, well, I guess, yeah, sure. I guess we could call it the moral. The morals of it is saying that don't do something that could cause yourself harm.
Sure.
But there is also, alcohol is also amoral. Like, any sort of substance is amoral. Eating chips and sitting on the couch and watching TV then would be amoral. And, the thought is that, give people the enough benefit of the doubt to say that they have the, you have a moral compass. Right or wrong. There is a gray area. You can flirt that area. You should be allowed to kind of make that decision for yourself. God gave us free will. We had the ability, we had the choice to or not to, eat the forbidden fruit. And the whole thing is that if you were not given that free will, you are not really truly alive. Was the argument of the beginning of the Bible.
I know it.
Yeah. And so
I'm a Catholic, baby.
Yeah. So it's say if you were never given that free will is what made human. That's as opposed to, it's like, yeah, it was like, why would you give them free will? Because if you don't, then that's not then they're not truly free. And then it's just a point, it's some sort of weird science experiment, whatever you wanted to say. So
yeah, I work with a guy that says there's no such thing as free will.
Yeah.
And he's got all these arguments for it because, you've got your life, all your decisions in life, when you're faced with a decision, you think you're having a free will to make that decision as it is in front of you today.
Yep.
But it's all these things that have happened in your life to this point that will influence your decision. So you aren't really making a decision based on free will. You're making a decision based on past experiences. I don't know enough about it to really get into a philosophical debate about it.
I can,
but that's his. I kind of get his idea.
Yeah.
But there's got to be also a way to break the cycle if you chose to break that. This is what's happened to me in my life, and this is another decision I gotta make. Let's just say right and wrong, and I'm gonna choose wrong because I always do.
Yeah.
And these are always the things that my programming has made me do. Maybe one day you'll choose the correct way and break. Yeah, or the blue pill or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very like the Matrix, like break the cycle.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. It's just an interesting, thought-provoking idea.
Oh, I definitely think that like the sum of all your experiences are what leads you to make those kind of things.
Yeah.
There's even conversations about your mental pathways and stuff like that. Is basically saying that if you've made this decision 20 times in your life, it's one of those like I heard it described as you drop like you can say like a hill. You pour some water down it. The water will go this path. You pour some water down again it. It'll more likely to fill that path. And you do it enough times that the water will erode it, and that path will just be there. It will never go a different path.
Right.
Or the first time it could go anywhere.
Right.
On a completely paved surface, and then you keep on going. And the more you do it, it'll essentially only ever be that.
Yeah.
And that essentially that kind of your mind is working the same way.
Right.
There's theories of different things that will essentially.
That's kind of my idea with luck.
Yeah.
Some people are lucky and some aren't. And luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet.
Yeah.
So again, it's that whole... So he would argue that maybe that would fall into free will or not. Because, you've got to be prepared for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because there's millions of opportunities that have passed me by.
Oh, yeah.
And they would have been very lucky for me if I took them, but I wasn't ready to take them.
Yeah.
So they're just opportunities missed.
Oh, yeah.
Am I unlucky because I didn't? I don't think so. I still feel pretty lucky, but
still pretty happy guy.
Yeah, right.
Well.
But it's like that's an interesting thought process to go through. And so I don't know. It's just interesting ideas.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And we're getting back to like we digressed a bit, but getting back to like why would a person choose to do heroin? I guess.
Yeah. Sure.
And then we're going to just make it as safe and give them the knowledge they need to make the right decision at that time.
And this again, we're talking about, going further back to like talking about education. A lot of the reasons why people will switch to hard drugs, you might think of like, okay, well, I don't currently have the capability to process or deal with the stimulus going on in my life. So I need to find some sort of external source.
Yeah. It's trauma, abuse.
Yeah. And it could be anything. It could be any number of things, and everyone has a different capability.
Trauma, abuse, stress, death of a loved one, which is still kind of trauma.
Big time.
But all sorts of different events in your life can make you turn to drugs.
Yeah,
like I've had this conversation with someone else on this podcast actually.
Yeah,
no one chooses to do heroin and become addicted.
No
one's ever going to do that. They're doing it. I don't know why they do it. I personally don't know why they do it, but possibly it could be, I'm feeling so bad right now that I'm going to do this because it's going to make me feel better.
Exactly.
Could be.
And you, the number of times when you think about it, you have a hard day, like a tough day at work, say, or just something stressful happens. Say, you know what? I'm going to pour a drink. I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to relax. You now have an outlet. You've done that. Now, what do you do when that no longer?
See, that's
is
the
enough?
wrong time to do it.
That is.
That is the absolutely wrong time to have a drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only drink when you have a good day.
Yeah.
Then it's a happy thing.
Yeah, alcohol is alcohol is a mood catalyst,
like an enhancer of the mood. Yeah.
And so if you take a look at whatever mood you're in right now and say, I would like to have more of this, then that's an acceptable time to have a drink.
Okay.
If I'm happy, then I can be even more happy.
Right.
If I'm sad, I don't want to be more sad. Yes. So you don't want to have a drink.
Yeah, exactly. Good call.
There are people that will, they'll sit there and like, okay, I just need to escape. I need to turn my mind off. I'm going to pour a drink. I'm going to smoke a joint. I'm going to do,
whatever.
Do these kind of things that I can just like check out. And you get people that are like, okay, this isn't working anymore. Like I had a more stressful day than yesterday, so I need to do something more. And eventually you get someone like, alcohol's not enough. Marijuana's not enough. Yeah. Okay, what do I go to now? Well, I'm going to take these prescription painkillers I got left from when I broke my leg.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, take those. And like, okay, well, now that's not, that's kind of how those things go. But if you, again, at the source, the whole source is there that you're not doing a good enough job of dealing with stress. And in that particular case, at least, not saying that's the only reason, but in this particular example we gave, that someone says, there's too much external stimuli. I had a bad day at work, but then my girlfriend also dumped me, and I found out that one of my parents has cancer. All those things at once is I just can't handle that.
Yes,
and that happens, and that's really unfortunate. But you can get 3 pieces of bad news all at the same time. And so
it's usually the way it goes.
Yeah, right. Because all bad things come in 3s.
Yeah.
But so you can say any one of those things you could have handled on its own. All 3 of them becomes now too much.
Yeah.
And instead of having the proper, essentially like mindfulness training or things like that, where that, okay, this is too much. I'm now going to break it all down and approach things one at a time and say, this is the first thing I need to think about. What can I do? Okay. Take it, seal, not so much seal it up, but like finish it off. Like, I've done my thinking about this. Now I move on to the next thing. Now I move on to the next thing, or whatever particular training. I mean, I've done mindfulness training, and that's kind of some of the stuff that I've learned about it, but there's more than one right answer. But the wrong answer is to essentially just to put the strongest substance in your body that you can think of. Yeah. Till you don't think about it, because the problem's still there. Because then then you wake up the next morning, you've got a hangover or whatever, and you're sitting like, I feel like shit, and my girlfriend is still gone, and my parent still has cancer, and it was still a bad day. Yeah.
So I think going back to what you said, I think that's a really interesting idea, that implementing certain things in the education system to help us deal with things that will arise in our life, stress, trauma, finances, drugs, put them into the curriculum in a thoughtful, non-political. Yeah, that's going to be important.
That's
right. Non-political. Yeah, we don't have to be too left. We don't have to be too right. We just have to give the facts best we can about these things. Yeah, because it could really go off the rails quick if you start talking about finances from a completely conservative perspective or a completely leftist perspective. It's going to look quite different.
Oh, big time.
So we got to try. I think that would be really good.
Yeah,
I think that would be excellent, actually.
Yeah.
Because really, I guess not all, but many of the problems we have, more education would really help with. Probably 99% of the shit that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, and you
more education typically means more tolerance. Yeah, because you'll know more.
And you look at more tolerance. It's a mindset of knowing. I mean, the more I learn, the less I know. I wish I could remember who said all these quotes.
Doesn't matter. They're good quotes, though.
It makes me sound really cool. It sound even more.
That was
well
like my buddy.
studied.
That was my buddy who was getting a PhD. He's like, so a PhD is specializing. So the more education I get, what did he say? So as you specialize in something, you know more and more about less and less.
Yeah.
Till one day he says, I'm going to know everything about nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's well put, brother.
Yeah, all right. Shit, that's deep. Yeah. But you look at some of those things, but like, again, it's really funny. Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
No. Do I need to see it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but it came out like probably close to 20 years ago. The concept is that smart people stopped having kids.
Oh, yes, I did see it.
Yeah.
Yes. And the less educated just continue to have tons and tons of kids.
Yeah. And then you got like Terry Crews as the president, and like it's just like they're like all the plants are dead because they're feeding them Gatorade and
so
shit
that's
like
happening
that.
right now.
I know.
It actually is.
I know. That's
so kids are becoming more conservative. And I was like, oh, is it just because they're rebelling against the Gen Xers?
Yeah.
No, it's because conservative parents are having slightly more kids than liberal parents right now. And it's just that's at least in the US. And it's just skewing things ever so slightly so that kids as a whole are becoming more conservative. Not that their thought processes are more conservative. It's just conservative families tend to be having 2.4 versus 1.7 for more liberal families.
So the other interesting thing, though, did you see the percentage of voters under 30 that voted Democrat?
No.
It was in the 80%, 80 some odd percent.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the amount. So it was like...
Well, that's another famous quote that I don't know exactly, but if you don't vote, or something to the point of, if you're not liberal when you're young, you have no soul, but if you're not conservative when you're old, you have no... mind or something. There's something to that effect, right? So it doesn't surprise me that young people would vote liberal. Would vote left.
Starting like conservative, going liberal, then going back conservative, and it's kind of interesting. There's just such a large amount, like over 80%. Like if any, well, we're talking about American politics, but if any presidential election was determined by 80%, they would probably trigger some sort of like crazy recount because there's never been a landslide that crazy.
Yeah.
It's usually determined by like 3 or 4%.
Oh, not even, yeah.
Yeah, like a 60-40 split would be
huge.
Like the greatest landslide of all time.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at like 51-48.
Oh, yeah.
And
really
that's like,
close.
Damn, they crushed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
And so it's like, like seeing like a split. So 80+% to go one particular way is actually pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing too is,
and hopefully they're going that way for the right reasons.
Well, and this is where I was saying that it shouldn't. You got to separate it, because under 30, people pretty much financial reasons, not a big portion of why they're thinking of what they're thinking.
Right, social. It's
all social. So socially, you're looking at like 80+% people saying socially we need to progress. Mm-hmm. But then once you hit a certain age, then you've kind of put your roots in and you're saying like, okay, well now I want more money. And so then they're like, yeah, let's be fiscally conservative.
Right.
It's like, let's be fiscally conservative but socially liberal. Well, why can't we
do that all the time?
Do that all the time. Like, let's be a little bit more fiscally conservative, but socially considerably more liberal. And
that's kind of where we are in Canada in a lot of ways.
Yeah, in Canada,
that's why I don't think our system's all that broken in Canada.
No, I think we definitely got there.
We got social safety. There's improvements.
Yeah, there's definitely some things
we can improve on.
I look at and be like, ooh,
yeah,
fuck, we screwed that one up.
Yeah, we're selling those fucking tanks to Saudi Arabia right now. Probably not a good idea. Fiscally, it looks good because we're getting like 10 point something billion.
Yeah,
but it's probably not.
There's things like that. I mean, there's reserves that don't even have drinking water.
I know. Still don't have drinking water.
Like,
the only reason a reserve in Canada does not have fresh drinking water, do you know what the one reason is?
Why?
Because the government doesn't want them to.
Yeah.
Because there's no other fucking reason.
Yeah, it's literally, you take a look at like, okay, so what do we want to do? Like, well, okay, let's do this. Yeah, okay, cool. We'll build a road over here. That's perfect. Okay, let's talk about some of this pipeline stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about that. There's 1,500 people over here that
don't have
water
on a boil of water.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, forget it.
Well, we can deal with that later. Let's go to this one. Like it literally, it's like, okay.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's something, it probably would cost a lot of money to do.
I'm sure it would.
But it's one of those like...
Come on. It's been an issue for the last 20 fucking years. Can we get it done already?
That's definitely something that we should...
It's a black mark on...
Big time. Yeah, there's a few different things. There's a few things that we could just fucking do.
Yeah. It's part of the road to reconciliation. Just get the fucking drinking water fixed already.
Yeah. And
roads, education, drinking water. I mean, this has got to be basic.
So many people are afraid of doing more than they have to and just fucking fix it. Like,
yeah. I know it's bad. It's rotten.
Yeah.
It's fucking rotten. I don't know all the logistics behind it, but I'm sure we've got lots of smart people in Canada. I'm sure we could figure that out.
Yeah, I'm definitely woefully uneducated on all of the intricacies, we'll call it.
Yes.
But at the same point, it's one of those like, this is something we should be able to just fix or find a solution for. Yeah.
If we can build an oil pipeline, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with it. We should be able to build a water pipeline.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's...
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And, if the water pipeline breaks...
it's only water.
It's just water. We're fine.
So you don't even have to build that great a pipeline for water, but if you could build a gas one, you should be able to build a water one to get water where we need to go.
Yeah.
Or better yet, just build a water treatment facility right there or in a centralized location and serve a bunch of communities and get it done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, and this is so the gas pipeline, oil pipelines.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I would not say I'm pro pipeline.
I kind of misspoke to you. I'm not pro, but I'm not anti.
Yeah,
but there's good arguments on both sides.
And this is where I think that this is where I'm a strong proponent of regulation.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, there's already a pipeline.
Yeah.
They're just twinning it.
Yeah, there's a second one.
And it's following the same route, as far as I understand, as the pipeline that is already there. Mm-hmm. That is old and kind of getting beat down a bit and not really that great. The thing that it's going to do is it's going to bring our... it's going to increase production.
Yeah.
Which is going to bring tanker traffic up to 800 tankers a year, I think. I'm not 100% sure from like very few.
Yeah. So these are all things that are like, that are going to be, there's damage to the coastline, potential of the pipeline breaking, oil spills.
Yes.
These kind of things.
Freighter accidents.
Yeah. And so realistically, this is where I think that like regulation should come into play, because we look at it, there is a demand, there's a need for this. Mm-hmm. Like everything says like we need to have more of this resource. We need to be able to use more of it. That currently we're going to drive to the store and we're going to be like we would drive to the store to go buy something. We drive our car, which burns gas.
Yeah.
It's given to us in a package that's made out of plastic.
It takes gas to get vegetables to our table.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things. So, like, I understand.
It takes gas to make batteries for electric cars.
Yeah. Should we use gas forever? No. There's definitely better ways to do it. Can we stop tomorrow? Also, no.
Right.
So, it's like, okay, well, what do we do in the interim? So, like the clean exit strategies and stuff like that are definitely important. The other thing, too, is, okay, we look at the environmental implications. So, okay, well, what happens if this spill happens? What happens if the pipeline breaks? What happens to the people that are displaced with whatever, or whatever it might be? So, in these particular cases, we need to take sure, if I'm driving my car, and I've been in 15 accidents, each one of them has caused $100,000 of damage, then my insurance is going to be pretty high. Mm-hmm. And I'm not allowed to go on the road until I pay that insurance on my car. I might get in an accident, but my insurance or whatever I've got protecting me essentially, so that if that accident does happen, I haven't caused irreparable damage. And I feel that the same kind of deal. Like there's a certain amount of liability. It's like, okay, what could happen if this spill would happen? What degree of damage would happen? It's like, okay, well, we need to have some sort of an insurance or thing to make sure that if that happens, that it's cleaned up and fixed. If you have an oil spill, accidents happen, but it needs to be cleaned up to the point where it's as good as it was before it happened. So what are you going to do to make sure that either A, that never happens, or B, that when it does, you have an absolute, the smallest possible impact? Because, why don't we drive, like if I was driving a car that ran on an atomic fuel engine and I crashed it and it caused a nuclear meltdown in the middle of the street, well, we're not going to do that because the damage, the risk is too high. It's like, sure, it might be great, but the risk is so high that we can't do it. So same thing. It's like if we take a look and say, I want to put a tanker off the coast here. Like, okay, well, what happens if your tanker spills?
Yeah, you got to have some plans, some contingency plans in place. So that we know if this happens, A happens, this is the A response.
And if they take a look and they say, well, that's too much money, we can't put that up against that in case that happens. Then I guess what we're saying is that it's actually not financially viable to run with no safety net,
right?
And say that, like, if we're going to say we're going to do this, transport it all the way across the country, and you're not willing to put in any money in case something goes wrong. What you're wanting to say is that if the pipeline breaks and you flood half the whole area with whatever, that it's scorched earth, nothing can be grown upon it anymore. And if that happens, then yeah. And you're saying that, like, I would have to just put my hands up and walk away and say, yeah, company's bankrupt, everyone's done, we're done. That's it. We'll cease doing business. If that's what happens, then that can't. Because the problem is still there, that no one's fixed it. And you just left on, essentially, the taxpayers to fix that. And the amount of money that the taxpayers are actually going to see from this, from the benefit of this, won't be enough to fix that.
Right.
Because the government looks and say, no problem, we made billions upon billions from these guys and the tax they paid, we'll clean up the mess. But that's not how it is. So someone has to be able to foot the bill in case of something going wrong.
Sure.
And if no one can foot the bill, then, if I'm painting, I put it down a drop cloth. If I drop the paint, put up the drop cloth. I'm going to drop the paint and ruin your floor and say, well,
sorry,
I officially retire from painting.
Yeah.
Have a great life.
Yeah.
You're like, no one's going to hire that painter.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't. But this
is that what is going on with the pipeline?
From a lot of what I understand is that there's been, like, regulations that have to happen, and now it's getting to the point where it's so much where people are digging their heels in and saying, like, we're not going to let it happen under any circumstance. Because they're like, oh, fuck, this has gone on too long. But from my understanding, as limited as it may be, the initial things were saying that, like, we want these additional regulations to go in. We want to make sure that if, like, the pipeline, I'm not an engineer, pipeline guy or anything like that, but, like, that essentially if it breaks, that there's some sort of thing to make sure that only a certain amount of oil can spill.
Yeah, they're supposed to have those automatic valves, pressure sensors.
Right,
I don't know.
And put that every so often, so that essentially that if it breaks, you can only have a minimum environmental impact, and then what needs to also be cleaned up.
Yeah.
And essentially, side A said, you need to do all this stuff. Side B says, that's too much, we're not doing it. And it's like, okay, well, then do this. Too much, not doing it. And then, like that, so that case, like, okay, fine. Then if you say you can't clean up the mess you make, then you're not allowed to go ahead with it. And so I think it should absolutely be able to go through it as long as all the contingencies for the mess that are being made and all that kind of stuff are in place. And in addition to that, whatever kind of, like, these companies, it's incredibly lucrative for them. Like, if you look at, like, some of the biggest lobbyists, some of the most money to be made worldwide, like, up until Jeff Bezos hit number one in the world, like, Saudi oil was in, like, dominant in, like, top 10 richest people in the world.
Oh yeah, still are.
Yeah. And so, and all they have, and all that really is just saying, like, yeah, I own oil. I want to sell you an oil. I own the ground that this oil is in. You can have some of the oil. And it's such a lucrative business that people are in like the wealthiest of the world by being able to just sell that resource. So if it's that lucrative, we need to essentially, like, maybe it shouldn't be that lucrative. Maybe it should be only very lucrative instead of like absurdly lucrative.
Yeah, right.
You know, we don't look at it and say like, wow, we're making 10,000% profit on something. Maybe it should only be 1,000% profit, which is still really fucking good.
Yeah.
And
I guess the other argument would be that, you know, you can get it to the coast safely, but it's still going to get burnt once it's done.
Yeah.
And it's still going to emit carbon into the
and
the
so
atmosphere.
and that would be where I would say the second port. Well, in addition to all that
the government's going to make money from this.
Well,
they could invest that money in clean energy.
Exactly, and that's the thing is that it. You know,
but I don't even know what clean
carbon tax.
I don't even know what clean energy means anymore because it doesn't matter what you look at. Solar panels have rare earth in them, minerals that are strip mining the Congo to create the solar panel. Batteries, you got the lithium mines that are stripping this area and destroying this area. Wind, it's unsightly to so many. I personally like the look of windmills.
I think it looks really cool. Yeah,
but then it kills the birds.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, holy, it doesn't seem like, you know, what do we do? We're going to all buy a horse? And start, you know, taking a horse to work, because
and this is where it gets to be like again,
because even electric in BC is made from, you know, you build a dam, it's made from concrete. You still have to use stuff to make that concrete, fossil fuels.
Plus, even the dam, which is very very clean. I mean, it still fucks up how the
fucks
the
up the land
of the fish
and this.
I mean,
so there's like
but I don't think just like again looking at say batteries, for example, like batteries. I remember like, say 20, 30 years ago, like, oh, batteries, disposable batteries. Oh my God, that's like the worst thing ever for the environment because you just take them, you use them once, you throw them out. And it's so bad. But now battery power has actually come so far. And I remember like the first time I got a cordless drill, they're like, oh, it's cordless, but the corded ones are so much better.
Yeah.
And now they're like, everyone's like, who fuck has a cordless drill?
A corded drill, yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing. It's like looking at the electric car. Like before, it's like, yeah, you can get 50 kilometers.
Yeah.
Now it's like
you're starting,
800
now we're
on
starting
some of
to
these,
talk.
like, on these crazy things. So it's come so far. Right now, we're looking at we're looking at the best gas engines have ever been, ever. Mm-hmm. And next year, it'll be the best ever again. And like this is the absolute pinnacle of technology. And it's so incredibly basic, hard on the environment and that kind of stuff. Whereas looking at a lot of these other alternate technologies in their infancies. I mean, if one thing COVID has taught me is that if we just decide and say, fuck it, we can't do that anymore. Just period. People are, and it's kind of the beauty of an open capitalist society, is people will say, all right, fine, I'll find something different. I got to make my money somehow. Mm-hmm. And when we said that, like, all right, people aren't allowed to, you know, was at some point allowed to leave the house, go shopping. It's like, all right, cool. Well, we'll find a way that people can do streaming stuff. We can find a way they can do things online. They can be together and connect in other ways. And, you know, you'll always find a way.
We were doing contactless delivery.
Yeah, exactly. There's like, oh, what am I going to do for a restaurant? The restaurant's like, okay, well, fine then. We're going to actually build outdoor patios for every restaurant. We're going to reduce the things. Restaurants can now deliver liquor. We can now done all these things. And all these businesses were able to continue making money. Definitely not as profitable or as good as it used to be, but it was allowed to continue. And we just decided like, okay, well, we said no today, so tomorrow we're going to come up with a new way to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think we're in I'm not specifically focusing on oil and gas, but in so many different ways, we're taking a look and saying like, well, that's the way we've always done it. We can't do something else. So we'll just keep doing it that way. And, you know, this could be the husband and wife talking, and one says, you know, like, oh no, the plates always go on this side. That's the way I've always done it. Like, yeah, but if we put the plates on the other side, they get cleaner.
You fit twice as many.
It's like, I don't know about that. It's I've always done it this way. Let's just stop.
Yeah.
Whereas you're like, okay, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit, it works. You know, it could be something as...
Yeah, it's frustrating to me that the government has not been investing money in clean energy, at least research, this whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so like
we should have been doing it this whole time. This isn't like brand new.
Yeah, and
like, get the money. We're getting the tax money from oil now.
Yeah.
And create solar arrays or wind farms. Figure it out. We got smart people. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And let's start supplementing.
Any investment portfolio will tell you diversify.
Yeah.
If you're saying like, okay.
So let's start supplementing the grid with some clean sources of energy.
Yeah. Just
you know?
Find ways
and don't make electricity so goddamn expensive so people could use it to heat.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. As I said, there's always a solution out there, but just saying that like we can't do that is like, again, you know, it's with anything. Like you talk about the homeless, people say like, not in my backyard. I don't want that homeless shelter there. Like, okay, well then I guess we can't do anything. No, figure something out. Whether, you know, whatever it is, do something, appease the people that are near that. You know, renewable energy, can't do something, figure it out. Drugs, just
you gotta figure something out.
Whatever it is, figure something out. But I definitely do like, in the kind of underlying issue in everything is education. If I was to go into politics, my entire platform would be based on education. Make the people smarter, and they're going to realize. Because we look at like everything that you see like protests for. People are like, well, fuck this and fuck that. It doesn't even like. Are you listening to yourself? Like, you're watching things on TV and you're sitting there like, look at these fucking idiots. They don't even know that. Insert whatever. It is.
Yeah.
But anything you just go, these people are idiots. It's because you know more than they do, or you have some piece of knowledge that they don't otherwise have. So, in theory, if they had that knowledge, then they wouldn't be out there being idiots.
Yeah. The protests in the U.S. now, the unfortunate part is I don't even think they know why they're protesting half the time. No, I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter.
No,
I'm not talking about that.
No,
I'm talking about like pro-Trump, pro-Biden,
the Million MAGA March.
Yeah, I don't even know if they know what the fuck they're doing anymore. There's so much misinformation out there, like you were saying, and it's on both sides. There's misinformation left and right.
Oh, big time. And again, this is where I'm a pro-regulation, so to speak. Like,
when did the media stop reporting on news? It's all become an opinion piece.
Oh, big time.
They're all opinion pieces.
Oh,
you can't, as much as I don't like Trump, you can't call him like a fucking idiot. That's not news.
Yeah. Oh,
that's an opinion.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I can call him everything I want, but I'm not the news.
But you're not the news.
Yeah.
We can call him a fucking idiot here because this is not the news. This is an opinion. This is a conversation. But when you're reporting the news,
the news should be factual.
You should try and report the news.
I really do, and like I remember, like there was like the phrase journalistic integrity.
That doesn't exist anymore.
And it's a matter of like, okay, I was like, oh, how dare I say something like that? No, I can't say that happened. That would be a lie or that would be bad. Whereas, you can't deliver something that's non-factual, and it's crazy because I really do feel, and if you did, if I was to tell you, hey, did you know that arsenic is actually really good for you? Mm-hmm. If you take it in small doses, you could become healthier. And you say, thanks, Shane, I'll go do that. And you go take some arsenic, and you get incredibly ill. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Did I say arsenic? I meant calcium. My bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck you, Shane. I'm like, well, my bad. I didn't mean it that way. Sorry, I reported it wrong. Like, there should be a consequence for that.
Yeah.
Because someone got hurt or something like that happened. And whereas to basically, like, if the news is reporting something that's completely false or not factual, there should be some sort of a way that it has to be properly retracted.
Well, they often report on things that are factual, but they take them out of context and then don't make it spin it the way they want.
Oh, big time.
So it's not actually a lie. It's just not the whole truth of the whole story, which I find it's just as bad as a lie.
Yeah,
because they're spinning it to better themselves for their agenda.
which is really tough because on one hand, freedom of speech is important. You should be able to say whatever you want, but on the other hand, not there still should be consequence for what you say.
Yes, well, there is, I think.
There is, but
not in the media so much.
Yeah, and that's kind of thing is that like, if I say something and someone gets hurt as a result of it, then, and it's directly because I said it, then I should probably have consequence. It's like freedom of speech. I can say, you know what, I don't like Pepsi, I like Coke, or vice versa. It's like, yeah, you know what, that is just entirely your thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I say that everyone who's not like me should get beat up.
Yeah.
And then someone beats one of them up, and I say, well, I didn't say you should beat them up. I just think it should happen.
Yeah.
If you say something like that, that's direct. You've caused something to happen. And then especially, who gives a shit about me? I'm Shane, some guy from Victoria, like, whatever, who cares? But if I'm a politician or if I'm a leader or if I'm anything like that, and I say, you know what, I'm not saying that something should happen, but if something did, I'd be happy. And they're like,
yeah,
got you. Yeah. I'll go do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And all of a sudden these things happen like that. That should be consequence. Like and same thing is that like if the news says, like, oh, well, this is bad or this is good. That's an opinion. Like you shouldn't be allowed to have that because you're really
unless you're doing an opinion piece, which is fine. But it's not the way it is.
But even opinion pieces are like, it's almost a gray area in some ways. Some cases, it's like should opinion pieces even be a thing? Like I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't, but it's a thinking point, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because if they are a thing, should they maybe be completely separate from the device that delivers facts? Like here's the evening news.
Yeah,
9 o'clock news.
Well, someone could watch this podcast and think it's news. It's not. Yeah. It's not news.
Yeah,
this is not news.
No.
So don't get me confused with some kind of a news agency. This is not news. Yeah. I'm allowed to make mistakes here.
Yeah.
Right. If I wanted to be a reporter, that would be different.
Yeah, but if you look at like you say we're watching the 6 o'clock news, and you say, okay, well for the next hour it's going to be news. But then at the end, you're like, okay, so Shane reporting, here's what I think about what's going on in this business. And you're like, okay, so that's news. That's where this is the 1 hour of facts, which it isn't because this is now an opinion piece. Yeah. So maybe you have the news, and then you say, okay, stay tuned. Up next is Shane's opinions.
Yeah.
Shane will tell you what he thinks about things.
Yeah, and that might make sense to you or not.
Yeah.
And then that'll be your political slant.
Yeah.
But when you've got news... When you got reporters and everything is so goddamn biased, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. Because now we watch CNN.
Yeah.
And then we're going to believe everything CNN says.
Yeah.
And we're going to believe that the right is bad. Yeah. And the left is good. And then if you watch Fox, you're going to think the exact opposite. Yeah. And we're going to start becoming more polarized. And we're going to hate each other more. And we're never going to be able to see in a middle ground.
Yeah. And that's...
I really strive to be middle.
Yeah.
But when I talk... I don't know that many real conservatives. I mean, we live in Victoria.
Yeah.
There aren't that many.
We're about as liberal as it gets in the country.
But the liberals I talk to tell me everything that they believe as fact.
Yeah.
And it really bothers me.
I hate that.
You've got no room to listen to my perspective or grow.
Yeah.
If this is it, this is the fact. And it's like, I get where you're coming from, and I may even agree with you, but we've got to be able to explore ideas and grow from it.
Big time.
Yeah. I don't like it's maybe because I don't know a lot of conservative people.
Yeah.
But that seems like it to me, it seems like a real left kind of a way of thinking. Like, this is it, we know it, and you're wrong, and you're a racist if you think anything other. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe just because I don't know a lot of real conservative people.
I think both sides will think one thing, because I think the conservative mindset can also be that, like, no, this is the way it is. If it's not, you're a crybaby, you're whining about it, you're blowing things out of proportion, that you're not thinking about what it actually is going to have the impact on things.
Sure.
Like, there's definitely the calling cards of both. But I'm definitely with you on, like, you know, the truth is always somewhere in between. And like, I've been often described as being a contrarian because I will argue the opposite of almost any point that you put forward if you're presenting it as being polar fact.
Right.
Saying that if you say that, you know what, hey, Shane, like if you came to me and said, hey, Shane, the only way possible to fix homelessness is to do, and whatever. You could just recite exactly what I just mentioned earlier on, I'd say, yeah, but have you thought about, what about the other option? I'm like, no, it's the only way. There's nothing else. If you don't believe it, you're an idiot. I'm like, okay, well, now I'm going to argue the contrary point to you.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to see that there's more than one right answer. And
that's like we were talking about the pipeline.
Yeah.
Some people say pipeline bad, period.
Yeah.
Some people say pipeline good, full stop as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Exactly.
It truly is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love those, like, the pipeline things. The people got like the things on their lawn says "I heart oil and gas." Like, you don't.
No.
You're not sitting there like looking at them like, oh yes.
No, because
diesel.
you know what? Yeah.
Like,
I used to think that when I was a kid because I was like, what am I going to run my car on? But we already know we can do something different. Yeah. So if we can do something different that's just as good or better, cheaper, better, faster, cleaner, we'd all switch tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just we're not there quite yet. I mean, I hope we get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you saying I heart oil and gas, you could have a sign. That same person might have a sign 20 years down the road that says I heart hydrogen power, or just like, solar, or whatever's better.
Think about the guy that was using hammer and nails when the screwdriver was invented.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It's not as fast. Look at this. No, screwdriver? Nuh-uh. No, all hammer and nails, dude, right here.
Like, you went to that guy that had the oil and gas house, and the government went to them and said, we're going to put solar panels on your house and switch it to electric, and your heating bill is going to be zero every year.
Yeah.
They'd be like, fucking take that oil tank out of here.
Yeah.
Right? I almost feel like this government should do some of that grassroots type stuff.
And this is the fucked up thing is that, like I said, is that if 2020 has taught me anything, if you all of a sudden just like can't remove all ability to do something, all of a sudden there are people are like, oh no, we found a different way already. Like you've got people that are like, you can't go to work right now, like government workers. Sorry, you're not allowed to go in a building with 5,000 people in it. That's it's too risky. Can't have 5,000 people in a building. You're not going to have meetings. You're not going to have cubicles. You're not going to have offices. We can't work in an office building. All right. Well, everyone's got an internet connection. Everyone's got a laptop. Everyone's got a webcam. You're all working from home. We're going to do Zoom meetings now. Yeah. And it's just like literally like 1 week done. Like you can just be like, all right, well, you can log in. You can do this. Blah blah blah. There we go. Takes like a week of prep, 2 weeks of prep, and all of a sudden now we can do a full 180. And then now you're looking at like all these off. So and then again, okay, well, what do we do about pollution? Well, we've got 5,000 people commuting to and from Langford to downtown for this office building.
Yeah, move the office building to Langford.
Or everyone works from home.
Or work from home.
There's zero commuting from working from home.
Yeah.
Well, no one can afford childcare. They can take a break every hour, take care of their child, do whatever they want, whatever they need to do. They get their work done from home. Maybe it takes a 9-hour, makes it a 10-hour day, but they get the work done in the same day. They can take the child. They can take care of it. The family is a lot more. It's a lot more of the nuclear family. Someone's staying home taking care of the kids. Perfect. Okay. Well, what do we do with that building? I don't know. Put dividers in it. Now it's good for the homeless. That's housing for the homeless or something. Like, all right, cool. Like, it just immediately.
There's ways.
Yeah, and just by saying that, like, oh, there's nothing we can do. Well, there is. You're just not trying.
It's kind of a shame in some ways. If we spent all the money that we just spent on COVID in Canada on alternative clean energy, we'd be fucking done.
Yeah, and there's just so many of these things. If we take a look at like what these things actually cost,
or if we spent all that money on homelessness, every homeless person would have a house. It's like, you know what I mean? There's just so much.
Yeah,
we can do better. We'll do better.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Yeah, I think there's definitely. I think there's a lot of like.
I just hope the left and the right stop fighting so much.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is that like your neighbor is not your enemy.
Yeah.
Just because they have a different opinion doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're right. That you could both be wrong. You could both be right. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, my friend.
Yeah.
It's been great.
It's been good.
I'm exhausted. I need a nap.
Yeah, that's a good note to finish on there. Be friends with your neighbor.
Yes. Be friends with your neighbor. More love, less hate.
There you go. You can have like a new closing line.
So
you can finish every podcast like that.
More love, less hate. Yeah, I could. There's just a lot of hate. We don't need that.
Yeah.
More love, less hate.
Yeah, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good closing line.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Awesome.
Cheers.
All right.